And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, keeping you on track with all the sporting stats. Steeple chases, even title races, looking after sports fans. You know, cause TalkSport Bet is the app that does all that. It's the only place to go.
18 plus begambleaware.org.
This Tuesday, Amazon brings league match. It's Bayern versus Celtic.
Magnificent. A wonderful goal.
This Tuesday, Bayern versus Celtic. It's on Prime.
What are you doing?
Oh, looking for a used car online.
Tried Spoticar?
I don't want a car with spots.
What? They're the manufacturer-approved used network for Peugeot, Citroën, Vauxhall, Fiat, Jeep, Abarth. They've got over 300 Spoticar retailers nationwide.
Yeah, and cars with spots.
No, there are no spots.
They're called Spotty Car.
Yeah, S-P-O-T-I. But look, remember when you thought fish really had fingers?
Understandable mistake.
Spoticar, manufacturer-approved used cars. No spots. Visit spoticar.co.uk today.
You got a little Ouija with Paddy Power on this one, then?
Yeah, mate. Big man to score anytime I'm backing him.
And it looks like it's the big man who's coming off.
Oh, he's going to struggle to score from the bench, pal.
Oh. Fear not, punter, because with Paddy Power's Super Sub, your bet carries over to the player coming on.
Y'all ready for this?
So now, all subs are super. Paddy Power. Football, you gotta love it. Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Pre-match and in-play bets on qualifying player outcome selections only. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
The passion, the pain, and the poetry of the beautiful game.
Overhead kick! Brilliant goal!
The Champions League live on TalkSport.
Super League is back. We had wins for Lee at Wigan and Warrington at Huddersfield as our live commentaries on TalkSport 2 on opening weekend. We've got Castleford against St Helens live on Saturday night on TalkSport 2. You're listening to the Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. We are underway in the EFL games up and down the country. We'll keep you in touch with the goals as they go in, and they have gone in already in League 2, a couple of them. Notts County chasing promotion. League Colchester, who've been in good form actually, 1-0. Conor Grant, the January signing with the goal. Notts County 1, Colchester 0, and Doncaster have lost their last two, 1-0 up at relegation threatened. Morecambe also in League 2. Rob Street gets another goal. He's been in good form recently, the Donny striker. Morecambe 0, Doncaster 1, and Notts County 1, Colchester 0. Big game in the National League top 2 meeting at the Hive. Barnet against York is goalless, and they're all underway there apart from Southend Aldershot, which gets underway at 8 o'clock. Already in the Champions League, AC Milan 1, Feyenoord 1, a full-time score, and Feyenoord through 2-1 on aggregate. And Sam Matface, our commentator tonight on TalkSport, it just shows anything is possible. Celtic have got to take that belief into this game tonight.
Without doubt, and their history in this competition isn't great, but actually, when you look back over the last few years, they have progressed this season. They've had a better Champions League than they have done recently, and slowly but surely they're starting to put better performances on a more regular basis on the board in the Champions League. And I think that's something that the Celtic fans have been desperate for, because if you go back over the last few years, it's been too easy for them in the Scottish Premier League. They haven't had too much competition. They haven't been tested on a week-to-week basis like they need to be if they're going to compete in Europe. And when it comes to these big clashes, they're usually out-muscled. They have a huge amount of money. Their budget, in comparison to even some of the teams that finish in the lower end of the Champions League league phase table, is absolutely huge. They've got great cash reserves, and they've started to use that a little bit more judiciously. Bringing back Jota, by the way, I thought was a really good signing in January, because they do need more goals. They do need a little bit more invention when it comes to this stage. No one expects them to beat Bayern Munich tonight. They have to beat Bayern Munich to continue. But if they can put up a good performance this evening in a knockout game, that will give them hope going forward in the future. Look, it's different now. Years gone by, they would have dropped down into the Europa League, and they would be contenders now, I think, in that competition. But because of the way that it's been restructured, it's probably harmed them in some senses, because they're never going to win the Champions League. Not not the way things are at the moment, because they're just far too far away. You mentioned the wage bill of Bayern Munich earlier on and how big it was in comparison to everybody else in Europe. I mean, Celtic aren't even on that list. I mean, you can keep scrolling, and you won't find them for a very, very long time.
I think some people will be surprised that Bayern Munich are top of the wage bill in Europe. I think there's a number of people probably wouldn't realise that, but it's true.
Yeah, and what's more worrying is that Manchester United are 4th on that list and Chelsea are 8th on that list, and they're not performing to that sort of level. You know, there's a little bit of a rule that goes around amongst chief executives, sporting directors and managers, and that is that when you start the season, you know basically what everybody's wage bill is, and you can do a wage bill table. And you are supposed to finish where your wage bill is in the table. If you finish above that, you've overachieved. If you finish below that, you're below par that campaign. So that's where people set themselves. And on that measure, Bayern Munich don't win enough Champions League. Manchester City don't win enough Champions Leagues. Manchester United don't do well enough at all, and nor do Chelsea and Arsenal.
Having said that, Bayern Munich did win it 5 years ago. And if we look at their home record, they won all 4 home games in the league stage of this Champions League this season. Celtic didn't win any away, but they did have some good results away. A 0-0 draw away to Atalanta, given the context of that league stage where Atalanta finished high up, did really well. I think it was an amazing result, really, but a 0-0 draw is not going to be good enough tonight.
No, and Troy and I were talking, and he was saying to me a little bit earlier on, you know, the fact is that, yes, they've got to attack it, but they've also got to use their brain, Troy. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you can get caught out very quickly against the wit and experience that Bayern Munich have got to offer.
Yeah, and the pure class as well, right? That front four of Bayern Munich is not only talented, it's young, it's youthful, it's energetic, but it's world class as well. It's up there with one of the best 4 front fours in world football. For Celtic, they have to take lead and hope that they can contain and they can suffer together. This is one when you learn as a team, and Brendan Rodgers will look at his team and say, who are we? What are we about? What are my characters like? Because winning in the Scottish Prem at the moment, with the greatest respect, is like they're expected to do that. It's today in the big games where they spend the money that they do, they have the team that they do, that they expect to be going deeper in the rounds.
Do you know what? This is the last game, probably, unless there's a miracle, of their Champions League campaign. I did their first one back in September, and it was one of the greatest nights that Celtic Park had seen this season when they beat Slovan Bratislava 5-1 at the beginning of the campaign. It was just the boost they needed going into this new league phase. You never know. Maybe something magical can happen for them tonight.
I think that if we talk about the keepers as well, Troy, Kasper Schmeichel achieved the impossible with Leicester City, so nothing really should faze him. I noticed he spoke this week about Manuel Neuer, said he's the most complete goalkeeper he's ever seen, and then said no weaknesses. And I think as time has gone on, maybe that's not quite true. He's paying full respect to somebody who was the very best keeper the world's ever seen, but maybe isn't now.
Oh, he's still up there though, Wade. I think in a time where, in my opinion, goalkeepers are being more judged on their passing and the way that they are, he's still a complete goalkeeper. He still commands his area, still gives leadership. That's why he's captain. If his level has come down, it's come down from a 10.5 to a 9.5. He's still exceptional. And as you said, Kasper's been there. He's believed. He's done the unthinkable by winning the Premier League with Leicester. So has Jeffrey Slubb. So they'll be tapping into those guys now and expecting that those guys are real leaders, both with their performances but also talking to these young players at Celtic, saying enjoy this moment because we know what it's like to win when everyone says you can't.
Yeah, all Kasper Schmeichel can do tonight is keep a clean sheet. Listen, let's give you the latest scores in the EFL as Wycombe have a shot from just outside the box that's deflected wide for a corner to the side, second in League One at the start of the evening. In League Two, Doncaster won up at Morecambe, Notts County League Colchester 1-0, and in League One, Lincoln have taken an early lead away to Mansfield Town, who've been in dreadful form recently. Porty O'Connor with the goal after just in the Champions League. What a night tomorrow on the TalkSport Network. On TalkSport 2, it's Real Madrid against Man City. On TalkSport, it's a huge game in the Premier League as Liverpool go to Aston Villa. Join me from Villa Park from 7 live on TalkSport tomorrow night. Tonight over on TalkSport 2, Birmingham against Bradford gets underway in around 15 minutes. Winner goes to Wembley in the EFL Trophy final. Here on TalkSport, it's 7.5 years since Celtic won away in the Champions League. A man who's here at Wickham tonight, captaining Bristol Rovers, Scott Sinclair, scored for Celtic in a 3-0 win away to Anderlecht that night. It's must win in Munich. Bayern 2-1 up against Celtic. Second leg live on TalkSport with former Premier League captain Troy Deeney alongside your commentator Sam Matface.
Yes, and the last time that Celtic won a knockout tie in Europe, it was the first year of the Premier League. The royal family's Annus Horribilis. Nigel Mansell won the Formula One world title, and it was Black Wednesday. And it was the first round of the old UEFA Cup. That's how long ago it was. Celtic have never won a Champions League knockout tie, and they have never went to tomorrow morning being anything other than a bleak Wednesday for those Celtic fans who have made the journey to Munich tonight. But thanks to Dizan Mader's goal at Celtic Park 6 days ago, there is the slimmest of chances, the tiniest crack in the door that is often slammed shut to them. They need an historic performance to open it tonight, and that is what they're planning. Bayern Munich have the history, they have the pedigree, and they have the players. But that last Celtic triumph in 1992 did come against German opponents. Here are the two teams, starting with the home side, Bayern Munich. Manuel Neuer is the goalkeeper. They're wearing all white tonight because their home kit, well, the numbers are too contrasting with the back of the shirt. So you can't wear the black numbers and the red shirt, so they have to play in their away kit every time they play in the Champions League. Manuel Neuer is the goalkeeper. Josip Stanisic, Dio Upamecano, Kim and Rafael Guerrero at the back four. Kimmich and Goretzka are the two holders in midfield, with Elise, Kane, Musiala and Gnabry as the four-man attack. Harry Kane, former Leicester teammate of Kasper Schmeichel, will be trying to get the better of him tonight. Schmeichel is the Celtic goalkeeper, and as he exchanges a hug with Vincent Kompany, he will know that he will rely on that goalkeeper probably more than he would hope tonight. Johnston is the right back. Carter Vickers, Trusty and Schlupp have got to stay compact in front of him. Engels and McGregor and Hatate will have to be tight in the middle of the park. Kun, Maida and Jota will need to find a way through. They might need to speed in behind that high line that Bayern often employ. The winners of this tie face either Bayer Leverkusen or Atletico Madrid in the next round. Bayern lead 2-1. Celtic have it all to do. Our referee tonight is Benoit Bastien of France. The VAR is Willy Delajode. And before we start, there will be a period of silence for those who have passed away in victims of the tragedy that befell a German city, a terrorist attack earlier this week.
Der FC Bayern steht in Trauer an der Seite der Familie der beiden Opfer und wünscht allen Verletzten eine schnelle Genesung. Ich darf Sie bitten, aus Anteilnahme sich für einen Moment der Trauer von Ihren Plätzen zu erheben. Please stand, if you are able to, for a moment of silence in memory of the victims of last week's attack in Munich.
Our thoughts with the people of Munich who are affected by that ghastly attack last week. Tomorrow on TalkSport and TalkSport 2, we've got Liverpool hunting the title and Manchester City chasing Real Madrid. But tonight, it's time to believe in miracles. Bayern against Celtic is live on TalkSport, and no one, apart from the most ardent of Celtic supporters, thinks that Celtic will emerge victorious tonight, Troy Deeney. So, how do they prove everyone wrong?
Self-belief. We're just watching them in a huddle now, chatting. You imagine that Kasper Schmeichel, Jeffrey Schlupp, the leaders in that team, McGregor, are all in there saying, stay in it. These first 15 minutes, stay in it, stay tight, stay compact. But when we get an opportunity, lay a little bit on them, big tackles, big clearances, and when those boys at the front, Jota, Maeda and Kun, when they get through, go and hit the target, go and scare them, go and get this crowd as nervy as you can. And you're seeing already that the way that Bayern Munich are going to go is direct, and they're going to go for the jugular. This Celtic team needs to be switched on at every moment.
Well, Celtic shooting from left to right in the first half in dark green tonight. It is that off-white colour for Bayern Munich attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. There has been a goal in the match involving Wrexham this evening. They're taking on Leyton Orient. Daybro.
It's Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 0. Wrexham scoring with their first effort on goal. Ollie Rathbone at the far post. The corner by McLean from the right, allowed to go all the way through. And Rathbone got the better of Perkins, got round the back and slammed home. Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 0.
Second goal in League One tonight. Lincoln lead Mansfield by a goal to nil. Here, 0-0 in the first minute. And it was around this time that Celtic had the ball in the net last week, but it was disallowed. Bayern in the driving seat, unbeaten in their last 20 Champions League home matches, a run that Celtic would have to disrupt in order to take it even to extra time tonight. And they're trying to disrupt here with good, strong pressure right up the top. And Dejan Maeda right in the face of Kim Min-jae right from the very off, something that Vincent Kompany, I think we'll have to get used to watching tonight, because he is going to try and press as high up as possible whenever Bayern try to play out from the back.
Yeah, and just as that's being turned over, this going to Celtic, they've got to be braver on the ball already. You can see people hiding, it's going back every single time. And you've gone from winning the ball back in Bayern Munich's half to going right the way back to Kasper Schmeichel. I know you're just getting into the game, but play forward, spread and want the ball as quickly as possible. You can't hide and run away from that, and try not to be the ones who don't make the mistakes.
Celtic haven't won a Champions League away game since September 2017. Kim flicks it through the middle of the pitch. It's touched on by Musiala. Guerrero tries to chase into the left corner of the field, gets high up down the left-hand side. Across comes Alistair Johnson, puts the ball out for a throw, and it's with Bayern Munich deep inside the Celtic half of the pitch. Taken back by Gnabry into Kimmich. Kimmich across through the centre circle to Dio Upamecano, who nudged it down the touchline. It's a good move, this, and Bayern are already in the penalty area. It's coming through to Musiala, who's challenged from behind by Alistair Johnson, the referee, who is from France tonight, waves away any protest. They attempt to get it clear, but it comes back very quickly, and once again it's with Musiala trying to get through a very tight gap, and then it's shuffled back by Johnson to Schmeichel, and all in pink, he just decides to hammer it upfield just to get it away from harm's way, because they were just crowding Celtic out on the edge of their own box.
Absolutely, and as you see, the ball keeps coming back, and Bayern again playing in those little pockets just in front of the edge of the 18-yard box, forcing Celtic to get nice and narrow and try and stop the ball. The difference is these guys just move quicker.
Wow, and Elise's got down the right-hand side to take the advantage of Schlupp. He gets to the byline, tries to do a trick to pull it back. He chests it over the top towards the far post, looking for Gnabry, who looks to smuggle that home, but ends up sending it wide of the upright. But what a chance early on for Bayern Munich. It was a crossfield pass from Kimmich from left to right, picked out Michael Elise, who danced his way down the right-hand side, got the better of Schlupp, delivered across to the far post. Gnabry, when he arrived, was all alone, Troy, and somehow it was smuggled behind.
Should score, Sam. I think it's a really good ball from Kimmich from left to right, as you say, but it's pinged with power. It takes the whole Celtic back line out. Elise got that quality on the left foot. You know he's going to be on his left foot. Chopping. Jeffrey Schlupp can't get close to him. Lovely stood-up ball to the back post. I actually think Gnabry, he's a little bit scared of taking the contact and heads it down when it was just headed into that high top corner and you're away. I do worry already. We're 4 minutes into the game, but Bayern just look faster, sharper. They look like this is a game that they're ready for, where Celtic look at the moment a little bit like deers in headlights, so a little bit shell-shocked at just the stadium noise, the atmosphere and the occasion. Hopefully they see through this first 15 minutes and continue to build into the game.
Well, Celtic boss Brendan Rodgers preached no regrets yesterday, but it has been a tentative start by Celtic, who trail on aggregate by 2-1, 0-0 on the night, and the ball is with the Bayern centre half Kim, who sends it towards the near touchline. On the halfway line is Guerrero, back to Kim once again. The Bayern players wearing black armbands, paying tribute to the victims of that terrorist attack in Munich a week ago. The ball sent wide out towards the right-hand side, where it's been collected by Elise. Elise brings it down left-footed, lovely cross towards the far post, just a little bit too high for Harry Kane, who was just waiting for that to land on his head. In the end, it just fizzed behind and goes out for for a goal kick away to our left-hand side.
Just writing it down now, Sam, but it's clearly an idea that Vincent Kompany and Bayern Munich have understood. If they're playing down this left-hand side, to hit that big diag out to Elise as quickly as possible, because it's just, they've done it 3 times already and he's got in every single time, and Celtic just can't seem to shift.
Engels gets forward and tries to play the ball in behind Dio. Upamecano uses physicality just to edge Maeda off the ball, sees it back to Manuel Neuer, and Bayern have possession once again. But the idea was right there, play the ball down the side, see if they can use the pace of Maeda, but it just wasn't as quick as Upamecano, who is a brutish, powerful figure.
Yeah, and also you've got to be big with those, Sam, as well. You can't allow the defender to get in. You want to be playing those balls down the channel where the centre-half feels like he's always on the stretch. That one was just a little bit too, he's trying to be too precise, and it's the right ball and it's the way that Celtic are going to get into this game. But as of right now, Bayern have been mightily impressive in this first 6 minutes.
Vincent Kompany, the Bayern boss, was frustrated at the weekend when Bayern failed to register an attempt on target in their 0-0 Bundesliga draw at Bayer Leverkusen. It was the first time they'd failed to do so in a Bundesliga match since May 2008. But here come McGregor down the left-hand side into the box. He gets the shot away as he enters the box, but it's way over the top of the crossbar, and he lacked composure after getting there. He pinched the ball from Elise, charged forward, got into the box, Troy, and then elevated the ball just far too high and didn't even test Neuer.
Yeah, never really set, but it's a great press. They set the trap with Elise coming inside. McGregor then jumps and nicks the ball. A quick 1-2 with Maeda, which gets him running at that back line on his own. There's a nice big space in there, which we spoke about at the top of the show. With this Bayern Munich team, they are open and they are going to be able to susceptible for change, especially when they transition. But when he was going through, just never had conviction that he was going to score. Just went with power, high, wide and ugly, unfortunately.
Yeah, didn't look confident when facing down the powerful figure of Manuel Neuer, who's the oldest Bayern player to play in the Champions League knockouts, eclipsing Lothar Matthäus tonight. Here on the right-hand side, Elise gets down the right side of the box on the attack for Bayern, delivers it to the edge of the penalty area, cut out and cleared away, and immediately it's released into Maeda, who tries to get in behind Upamecano, recovers well. He holds the ball up, though, does Daison Maeda, the Japanese international, and sees it back into midfield and manages to squeeze it into the path of Hatate. Then McGregor, then out to Schlupp, then back into the centre, and Austin Trusty and Carter Vickers, 2 American central defenders. On this near touchline is Johnston, then into McGregor with a captain's armband strapped to his bicep. He moves up through the centre circle and then nudges it out towards the far side.
That's better from Celtic, though, isn't it? That ball down that left-hand side to Maeda, where he's running into the channel, and it's really good hold-up play for him. It allows his team to build, but you're seeing already Celtic then get the ball, and they spread now a little bit better. They're starting to calm down, Sam. 8 minutes in, that's normal, this level of atmosphere, this crowd, this expectancy. They've weathered the storm a bit, so you'd expect now to see Celtic starting to grow, especially with the ball.
Can you understand it, bearing in mind the level of expectation, that the illustrious opponent, the unbelievable bowl of a stadium which is full of noise, flags and ceremony before you even walk out the tunnel?
Oh, absolutely, and it's a wonderful stadium, and it's an exceptionally high-risk game.
Here's Kane down the right-hand side. He flicks the ball into the near post. He takes a little deflection, which didn't outwit Kasper Schmeichel, who reacted well. He punches it clear out towards the far side, and Bayern on the attack again. Joshua Kimmich plays it square, and it's picked up by Kim. Out to Guerrero. And then taken forward again by Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 0 on TalkSport. 9 minutes played. Lincoln lead Mansfield in League 1 by a goal to 0. 0-0 in the Championship between Preston and Millwall, and Wrexham 1-0 up. Everywhere else 0-0. In League 2, Doncaster lead Morecambe by a goal to 0. Notts County 1-0 up over Colchester. In the Champions League, Club Brugge have taken the lead away at Atalanta. It's 0-0 here, and Benfica 0, Monaco 0. And that Birmingham-Bradford game, which is live on TalkSport 2, is delayed because Bradford were delayed getting to the stadium. Here, a chance to break down the right-hand side, and it's picked up, and surging forward is Stanisic in towards the right-wing position for Bayern Munich. He checks back after being held up by Jota, and then it's guided back towards Kimmich, who sends it back down the right channel. A little flick by Musiala, hoping to find Kane, but across comes Carter Vickers, and Celtic are able to clear from inside their own half. 10 minutes played, and it's 0-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate to Bayern Munich.
It does starting to feel, though, that Celtic are comfortable, doesn't it, Sam? That yes, they know that this Bayern team can score whenever they want, but they're growing into the game now. They're passing it more. They're just passing it here across the back four into Kasper Schmeichel in his 6-yard box. They're just taking the sting out of the game and trying to get this Bayern Munich team to run. And I think if you go from left to right, especially with that front four, while they're very talented and excellent going forward, they don't defend as a team, and they kind of cheat in ways. So if they can move it a couple of times, they will end up getting in on this back line on their own, but they can't do that.
Given the ball away too cheaply. It was floated out towards the far side by Hatate, but it was cut out. Now Stanisic steams forward, tall and slender, the right back, as he sends it long towards the edge of the box. Johnston gets there ahead of Kane, and then Schmeichel comes but didn't claim it, so Johnston had to continue travelling towards the right corner of the penalty box and then hack it clear from the edge, and it's cleared out towards the near side. Throw into Bayern. Guerrero to take it. AC Milan already been knocked out of the Champions League tonight by Feyenoord. That Club Brugge goal is really important because those two teams 1-1 from the first leg, or 2-1 from the first leg, so it's an extra feather in the cap for Club Brugge, who are having a great season in the Champions League. Celtic have had a better season in the Champions League, and it's something that we were talking about with Adrian earlier on. You know, the confidence that has come from some of the performances that they've put in, even away from home where they have struggled traditionally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think games like even Aston Villa, where they lost, they were still able to show the best side of them, really competitive, and probably could have nicked a result on the day. Going back to that earlier crossfield pass there from Hatate, you cannot get transitioned when you've got the ball, especially against this Bayern Munich team. As we spoke about with this Bayern Munich team, who are kind of cheating with their front four, if you turn the ball over, Sam, when they had Jeffrey Schlupp on the overlap, it now leaves 4v3 in Bayern Munich's favour, and if they would have got that pass right, Harry Kane would have been in on goal 1v1. That's something they're going to have to take care of.
Were you a little bit surprised that Jeff Schlupp was given his head tonight at left back as opposed to Greg Taylor? Greg Taylor very much a defender first and an attacker second. Schlupp probably the other way round, really.
Yeah, but I think Jeff's got the pace, and I think that's a little bit, and the know-how as well. We spoke about it already.
Loads of experience.
Yeah, won the Premier League. Obviously played in the Champions League as well with Leicester. Had a solid career at Crystal Palace as well. So you would say he's used to playing at that left back position. Probably knows Elise a lot better as well, having played with him at Crystal Palace. So a lot of factors as to why he probably would have played and started him in this game.
Yeah, signed from Palace on loan earlier in January transfer windows. The ball is sent forward out towards the near touchline. There's a little bit of contact on Guerrero there, and he has just hobbled over towards the near touchline. Back underway again with Celtic in possession deep inside their own territory. And Jeff Schlupp, who was actually born in Germany. He plays for Ghana, but was born in Germany. Ball clicked down the touchline, taken on by Johnson. Into the chest of Nicholas Kuhn. Goes out of play and away for a Bayern throw. We can go off to Wrexham, and another goal for Dave Rowe.
Equaliser, Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 1. Top scorer Charlie Kalman's 14th goal of the campaign. Nice ball into the penalty area by Pratley, and Kalman turned and shot for goal. Hit the inside of the post and went in. All square, Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 1.
14 gone. Bayern 0, Celtic 0. And here is Musiala in the centre circle. Driving forward down the right is Elise. Elise, who just holds up, then waits and then releases Stanisic, whose first time cross is headed away by the retreating Austin Trusty, and it's out on the far side. Kept in by Elise before it goes over the white line for a throw-in. Kimmich now gets hold of it. And Bayern Munich just in control, just trying to probe and find a way through. They don't need to have to rush things either, do they, Troy? Leading by 2-1.
No, of course, this game is for them to basically just keep control of. And I've just seen Vincent Kompany down there just calling for calm, trying to suffocate Celtic with the ball. However, they've ended up going from in the high right position all the way back to Manuel Neuer, who's just launched it long to absolutely nobody. And I think this is a perfect 15 minutes for Celtic. This crowd's going to start to get a little bit antsy, a little bit nervous. and they've just got to be a little bit braver with the ball. With how it is at this current moment, and try to explain this to the viewer, they're getting pressed really high, Celtic, but with no Adam Adaya up front, you can't drop it in. So they're going to have to play a little bit risky, play through the midfield and play through the final thirds to allow their pacey players to get a run on it. At the moment, they're having to drop balls in, and when they do, it's not very good.
Chance to break now, and Jota has got in behind Stanisic after Maida dropped short, and Jota's got the better of Stanisic. He gets to the edge of the area, delivers across. It's a chance here for Nicholas Kuhn, who puts it beyond the goalkeeper. It's cleared off the line by Guerrero. There wasn't enough conviction in the shot by Kuhn, who I think got a little bit caught in the headlights there, but that's a golden chance for Celtic to take the lead away in the Allianz.
And that is exactly what we were just talking about. A nice run, playing out from the back. They're getting...
Here they go again, and it's Engels down the right. A low cross to the far post, and Maida couldn't touch it home. It goes flying through the 6-yard box, and that's 2 great chances for Celtic that they haven't taken, and they ain't going to get many of those this evening. That was terrific. 2 well-carved chances. Engels putting it on a plate down the right-hand side into the 6-yard box. Maida coming in at the far post, couldn't slide it home. Here they come again, into Johnston from the edge of the penalty area where Hatate tried to feed him, and now Manuel Neuer has it in his hands, and he can't quite believe that it hasn't gone beyond him and into the net.
And breathe. How have they not scored? That should be 1-0. Both opportunities were excellently worked. The first one from Jota, a lovely little dinked ball into Kun, and as he takes the touch, he just looks like he's just so concentrated on going past. No, he passes it. It bounces twice in the 6-yard box before it's cleared off the line. And then for the second one, it's lovely, intricate play, little slide rule pass in. And as Eccles fires it across the box, the one thing I would say about Maeda is he's a winger by trade. And you've just seen it there that he was half on his heels. Most strikers are throwing everything at that, just try to slide and get a touch on it. He's just on his heels, and it's a lovely ball across the 6-yard box. But how Celtic aren't 1-0 up now is frightening, and they should feel really confident.
And they might get another chance here. Maida, edge of the area, tries to chip the goalkeeper, and it goes way over the top. Well, it was given away by Upamecano, who was pressed on the edge of his own penalty area. He was slipping as he tried to play out. He gave it straight to Nicholas Kuhn. It came to Maida, and then first time inside the edge of the D, he's hit that right-footed, and he's he's missed the target by about 7 yards, and it's really high as well.
Yeah, it's really poor.
What a waste.
We just see Brendan Rodgers down there below us, and he's in this position now where he's feeling that this is their moment. This crowd started to turn and get a little bit nervy. That's 3 massive chances that Celtic have hit the target on one occasion. They have to get goals. We spoke about it in the build-up, finishing the action, but that one for Maeda, he's tried to just bend it with his right foot over the keeper as he's retreating. Unfortunately gets it really ugly, and it just comes off his toe and goes straight wide. But this should be giving Celtic confidence, and at the same time taking it away and being demoralising, because you have to score in these moments, because you know Bayern Munich will come again.
I think you're being a little bit generous when you said they'd hit the target. I mean, they sort of tickled the target, didn't they, with that effort from Nicholas Kuhn. Here is Schlupp down the far side, trying to get in behind past Elise and also behind Stanisic. Plays it against Stanisic, the Croatian. It goes down a plane away for a throw-in over on the far side. I mean, Dejan Maida and Nicholas Kuhn, between them, had 39 goals this season. They should have had one tonight.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to be disrespectful, but there's a difference in the levels. If those 3 opportunities would have fell to Bayern, we'd have been saying it's 1-0 now at least. So I think that's just the level. And granted, these guys are getting paid completely different from the Celtic boys to the Bayern Munich boys. But you're playing in the big boy league. They would have had conversations where you're getting 1, 2, maybe 3 chances throughout the course of the game. They've had 3 in the first 20 minutes where they should have been scoring.
Well, I mean, it's outstanding chances as well. It's not even half chances, it's great chances for Celtic. And Jota now speeding away down the left, trying to cause more problems for Stanisic. Stanisic keeps very close to him, but Jota managed to squeeze it round the corner. Backing up with Schlupp, headed away by Kimmich. It's on the edge of the Bayern box, away far on the left, where it's with Celtic once again. And Jota into McGregor, and Celtic are growing into this game, and all of a sudden they're starting to take the game to Bayern Munich.
And it's excellent. Where they're playing now is in Bayern Munich's final 30 metres, and that's what they want. They're getting the wide players in wonderful positions. Just want to get some shots off.
Into Hatate, edge of the area, tries to get past Gnabry, and it's given away, and now a chance for Bayern to break with Kane, and then out to Elise, immediately shut down by Nicholas Kuhn, who did really well to funnel back into position, and they've stopped Bayern from really developing that counter-attack at speed, and it goes back into the middle of the park, and Bayern have it again. It's 0-0, 2-1 on aggregate to Bayern Munich on the night, but Celtic have had 2 or 3 great chances. In fact, 3 great chances, although one of them came in the same move. It was an unbelievable opportunity to get on the scoreboard tonight in the Allianz Arena.
And you would like to think now, as a neutral, that this will wake this Bayern Munich team up, that those 5 minutes that Celtic just had, especially in their attacking third, when you'll see Jeffrey Schlupp now running past Elise and doing a lot of damage in the opposition half, you know you're doing well.
Stanisic down the right-hand side, producing a cross switch from the edge of the 18-yard box, smacks into Schlupp and ricochets out for a throw-in over on the far side. Brendan Rodgers saying yesterday that they had to be clever, they had to be bright, they had to be brave. He said there are no second chances. Well, they've had 3 chances and they haven't taken any of them so far, Celtic, and it remains 2-1 in the freezing cold of the Allianz Arena.
I don't think any of us would have predicted it would have been this first 20 minutes. You'd have expected 3 or 4 Bayern chances.
We expected that first 3 minutes, didn't we, when it was really one-sided and Celtic were struggling to get a touch of the ball, but not the rest of it.
They've had one chance, Bayern, which they probably definitely should have had a better shot at target with Gnabry.
And here they come again with Kane. Kane's effort takes a deflection, spooned away by Schmeichel. It's a save that he should make. He adjusts his body and just pushes it away to the right, and it's tucked behind and away for the first corner of the game.
And that's the difference. 2 passes, lovely ball from Kimmich into Musiala, who gets on the half-turn. He just slides in Harry Kane, potentially offside, but as soon as Harry Kane gets in that box, he's not looking, he's just getting his shot off as quick as he can. Austin Trusty just gets a little bit of a shin pad in the way, which makes it a little bit more trickier for Kasper Schmeichel, but one we'd expect him to save.
Harry Kane with a wry smile as Benfica take the lead against Monaco. That's now 2-0 on aggregate for the Portuguese. They lead by a goal to 0 on the night tonight. Still no goals in the Championship, where Preston are playing Millwall. And are they underway now over on TalkSport 2? I think they are, between Birmingham and their opponents tonight, Bradford trying to desperately get into the Wembley showpiece event so that Troy can organise the open top bus for the day after.
Just on this though, Sam, this is a situation from the first leg where Harry Kane scored his corner from the right hand side, or Bayern's left hand side, Celtic's right hand side. They caused 3 or 4 times that there was a man free, so hopefully they've learnt from the first leg.
Kimmich's corner into the near post, headed away by Maida, back out to Elise, who swirls the ball to the far post, and it's sent in by Guerrero and tucked behind by the retreating Carter Vickers, and he had to get there because lurking on the edge of the 6-yard box was Leon Goretzka.
It's a great ball again potentially offside, you don't see that, but I don't think, again, back post just nice and open. I don't think Carter Vickers knows what's actually happening. He just hits off the back of his leg. But they seem to have this problem now, Celtic, that when they clear the first one, the players just run out in a straight line as opposed to keeping in your shape and staying with your men until the ball's cleared, and that's something they need to worry about.
Kimmich has taken the corner from the far side, the right. There's a lot of Bayern shirts at the back post this time, all bunched together. It comes back out to Gnabry, who then launches it towards that zone, but he got right underneath it and it went skyward, came back down about 2 or 3 minutes afterwards, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's really poor, but I just think when you look at the detail as well, when you're watching the line of Bayern Munich, they still had 2 players in the middle of the box free, so they need to be really careful, Celtic. I just think that's going to be a problem looking forward.
Well, we've seen a couple of replays now of those great chances that Celtic have had. 3 really brilliant chances. And actually, when Kuhn gives the ball to Maida on the edge of the penalty area for the 3rd of those, what Maida really should do is either take it on and run into the penalty area and take on Neuer, or pass it back to Kun down the right-hand side where he is in acres of space.
And he had Jota on his outside as well, where he could have just nudged it and Jota would have been 1v1. He had 3 or 4 options, but unfortunately he chose the wrong one. And it's hard, Sam, because in that moment he's seen the bright lights and it's the opportunity to score.
Long ball forward aimed towards Kane, and it's away by Carter Vickers, mopped up by Jota, who's funneled into a left full-back position, went to clear, took a deflection of Stanisic, but still stayed in the perimeter of the playing surface, so Elise was able to bring it back, and Bayern on the attack again. It's Bayern 0, Celtic 0, 2-1 on aggregate. Club Brugge have gone 2-0 up away in Atalanta tonight, so it's 3-1 on aggregate to the Belgian side now, and there has been a goal in the Championship at Deepdale. Here's TalkSport's Natalie Pike.
It's Preston 0, Millwall 1. It's gone for Ivanovic. It was a free kick just outside the 18-yard box that he's curled round the wall and into the top left. It was a great free kick, and it's really helped warm up what's been a very tight and slow game so far. Preston 0, Millwall 1.
Back here by 0, Celtic 0 in the Champions League, the second leg of the knockout playoffs for the right to be in the last 16, and the next opponents for these two teams rather interesting: Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. I think if you're Bayern Munich, the last thing you want is a game against Bayer Leverkusen.
Absolutely, especially after the weekend. But I just feel that this Bayern team could step it up a level or two. Some of their players look really tired. They look like they're getting a little bit leggy.
Well, they had to work really hard on Saturday, and Vincent Kompany talked about this in his press conference yesterday. You know, there was so much defending that they had to do. It was a good experience for them because it sort of holds them in good stead for later on in this tournament, but it's something that they're completely not used to.
Yeah.
They spent so much time without the ball at the weekend. Here comes Guerrero down the left-hand side. Lots of space to exploit. Gets to the edge of the penalty area. Pulls it back. Johnson slides in. Blocks the attempted cutback. And it's nudged behind and away for a corner kick away to our left.
They're building and starting to suffocate again now, aren't they? They're Bayern. They're just moving it. They've got both centre-halves 15 metres inside the Celtic half. For Celtic, if you want to sit and take this on, you want to be able to win the ball back and then counter. But at this moment in time, it's just becoming suffocating with the ball from Bayern.
You just wonder if they're going to rue those big opportunities that they've had tonight, Celtic. Here's the corner from Kimmich. It's a deeper one this time. Out comes Kasper Schmeichel. He takes complete charge and punches it clear. Kun almost held on to it. And then he was getting pressure from behind from Gnabry. Still managed to escape. Gives it out towards the left-hand side. And then it's shuffled back to Schmeichel, who just chips it over the top of Musiala's head. And Celtic do well, actually, to play the ball out with real poise and get themselves further away from their own penalty area and up the pitch. But that was a risky ball by Hatate, and it's given back to Bayern. They come down the right with Kane trying to fight with Trusty. Trusty and Hatate eventually tidy things up, and then McGregor will be a little bit more conservative with the attempt to get out from the back. Still 0-0.
It was actually a good ball from Hatate as well. When you're playing that little reverse ones, and what's happened with that is that Engels has gone to the right hand side, as I said, to staying in the middle of the pitch, because he would have been clean through on goal.
Up towards Maida. Upamecano beats him in the air. The ball drops for Jota. Engels is trying to get back at Goretzka now. We're going from one end to the other here very quickly, and that's causing Celtic a few problems because Musiala is skating towards goal down the left channel. He tries to feed it into Guerrero. Went on the underlap, but it was cut out by Johnston, and then Kun gets it further clear. Picked up now by McGregor, then on to Schlupp. Bit of space for him to run into now. The Ghanaian gets up to halfway, then holds it, gives it to Jota. Jota, who looks like a little bit of a younger version of Antoine Griezmann with that sort of 1980s wham hairstyle and the facial hair. Plays it back into midfield and gives it to Carter Vickers.
I don't know about you, Sam, but I feel that the more this game becomes end-to-end and a transition game, it suits Bayern Munich as opposed to Celtic.
Well, they've got their weapons, haven't they? Musiala, they've got Gnabry, Michael Elise, good in transition. Harry Kane, obviously an arch poacher. He'll be quite happy to sort of drop deep, link, and then send it over the top for those runners if necessary. The Celtic, what they've got to do is make sure the next time they get one of those chances is be ruthless enough to take it, because they have had the best chances in the game. There is no doubt about it. They should be in front. They aren't, and they'll be kicking themselves as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the bench of Bayern Munich as well. They've got the likes of Alphonso Davies to come in. You've got Coman, you've got Müller,
Here's Gnabry siving through the Celtic defence. He gets it onto his right foot, he shoots, it's blocked by Schlupp and it's cleared away. And it was a good run, a positive run by Gnabry right through the middle of the Celtic half. They were backing off, and in the end, there was just too many bodies between him and the goal, and he ended up blocking the shot.
Yeah, just running into a lot of bodies. Really good play, though. But just to my point I was trying to make, that if these guys who are in the wide areas now don't deliver, they have pure pace, which I think as this game gets, more and more stretched and more into the latter stages, I think that the bench of Bayern Munich will cause Celtic problems. So going back to those earlier chances, you have to take them when you have an opportunity.
Bayern lead 2-1 from the first leg. Michael Olise's powerful strike, Harry Kane's goal from the corner. Here is Musiala, edge of the area, trying to tease one to goalwards. It doesn't really get any ground going, and Brendan Rodgers wants to get the ball moving quickly. He wants them to react and start playing again. Oh, that was a little mistake by Engels on the edge of his own penalty area. He's given the ball back to Gnabry. And lots of Bayern bodies forward, and Olise's coming in from the right-hand side, but it's going to be picked up by Kasper Schmeichel, and we can go off to Deepdale, where it's half-time for Natalie Pike.
Preston 0, Millwall 1, and it was a very slow and cagey opening 40 minutes, but the deadlock was finally broken by a brilliant free kick from Ivanovic. He was outside the 18-yard box, swung the ball around the wall and into the top left corner. A few boos at half-time, though, from frustrated Preston fans who didn't think the free kick should have been given. Preston 0, Millwall 1.
Guerrero picks it up, plays it to Olise, just 10 yards short of the 18-yard box. Then on to Musiala, who tries to turn it round the corner. He's got support in the wide areas, but Celtic getting bodies to try and shut him down. Musiala tries to go beyond Engels, but it's a good challenge by him, and it's out of play. Half-time at the racecourse ground, Dave Rowe.
Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 1, 2 informed teams. The score is about right. Wrexham strong from set pieces, went in front from a corner. Rathbone converting from McLean's delivery, but Orient played some good stuff themselves, and they got level on the half-hour. Kelman with a good finish after a ball in by Darren Pratley. Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 1.
Played 23 minutes in the EFL Trophy, the Virtue Trophy, in the semi-finals, and it's Birmingham 0, Bradford City 0. You know that because Troy's still sitting down.
Are you trying to suggest that I'm a biased individual?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Not at all. And it's Benfica 1, Monaco 1 in Lisbon at the Stadium of Light, the Estadio de Luz. And Monaco's goal just pegging back Benfica, who did have a 1-0 advantage from the first leg. It's 2-1 now on aggregate to the team from Lisbon. Club Brugge look like they're sailing past Atalanta. In Bergamo tonight, they're leading 2-0. It's 4-1 on aggregate to the Belgians. Feyenoord already knocked out AC Milan this evening. Champions League continues to fascinate. And if some surprises have already been caused tonight, then maybe Celtic will feel as if it's their job to cause one as well. They certainly could have done that, and they're coming forward here. Engels inside the centre circle, looks up. Maida goes down the outside of the penalty area. He's followed by Kim, but manages to keep hold of possession. It's dropped over the top for Hatate, but it was a poor ball by Jota, because he was never really going to squeeze that through to the Japanese international. And it's cleared away by Bayern, but not cleared away with any real purpose, only cleared to the halfway line, and it's a green shirt that gets there first of all.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany will be very disappointed with his two defenders, especially in the build-up to whenever they win it back. Upamecano he just clears it aimlessly. If he can't pass it to his right back or his other centre half, he just seems to just kick the ball into the channel, a bit Sunday League-ish at times. And Kim, whenever he gets the ball, he's driving, and he drives forward and then goes right back to the left back. It's just very predictable at this moment in time, but the tempo from both is very slow, and it's playing into Celtic's hands.
Upamecano did have an injury a little while ago, but any sort of ring rustiness from his injury and then suspension, which he picked up too, should have been shrugged off. He started now 10 of the last 14 matches for Bayern Munich. He's never scored in the Champions League, but he is a big part of their recent success. He actually formed last season a really good partnership with Eric Dyer towards the end of the campaign. Let's go off to Wycombe, where it is half-time for Ian Abrahams.
Wycombe 0, Bristol Rovers 0, a slow burner of a game. Scott Sinclair with the header for Bristol Rovers, close to Barlow, should have scored for Wycombe. They also had a good old-fashioned goal line scramble. 4 players on the line, no one could force it home. It's half-time, Wycombe 0, Bristol Rovers 0.
Elsewhere in League One tonight, it's Crawley 1, Wigan 1, Mansfield 0, Lincoln 1, Shrewsbury 0, Huddersfield 0, Stevenage 0, Burton 1. It's Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 1, as you just heard, and Wycombe 0, Bristol Rovers 0, as you also heard from Ian Abrahams just moments ago. You're listening to TalkSport Live on this Tuesday night. Remember, tomorrow night we'll be bringing you Champions League action from Madrid on TalkSport 2 as Manchester City look to try and fight back from a deficit. And then on TalkSport, Liverpool looking to extend their lead to 10 points at the top of the table, go away to Aston Villa tomorrow night. Big game in the Premier League, a rearranged match. That's tomorrow. It kicks off at 7:30. Make sure you're with us from 7 o'clock tomorrow. And a big weekend of action coming your way, as always, in the Premier League. We're going to be at Goodison Park on Saturday for Everton against Manchester United, live from 12:30. 10 minutes to go before half-time. I think Brendan Rodgers, apart from the missed chances, will be relatively satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely ecstatic. He's done everything from an away team. The counter-press, the pressing, the stuff with the ball, the shape, it's all been excellent. It's just that little bit at the end, that little ingredient of those 3 opportunities where they not only have to score, but they have to hit the target. I do feel like he'll be very happy, but I do think he'll have this little beeping sound in the side of his head saying there's no way Bayern Munich can be this bad in the second half. Surely not.
Well, he did say they designed a game plan, knowing that whatever team started this match, they would need those coming off the bench to make a difference later. They knew that it would be demanding physically. And they talked about Maida playing in a central role. Jota, who's only just come back to the club, might not last the full 90. But there are options on the bench as well for Celtic. Adam Idar, who has recently been leading the line, and only Kuhn and Maida have scored more goals for the club this season than him, will be an option in the second half. But Bayern have a arsenal of weapons, and they're coming forward here with Elise down the right hand side, scurrying to the edge of the box, gives it to Stanisic, who steps infield, then leaves it for Kimmich, who strikes. He's well wide of goal. And actually, it was a poor strike from Kimmich, really, because it was so wide that it didn't even test Kasper Schmeichel, who will be a relieved man. But that was a example of what they can do to you when they pick the ball up and drive at your defence, put you on the back foot and force you into errors.
Yeah, just watching a replay from Kimmich, it looks like he hits his heel as he's trying to pass it into that bottom corner. Unfortunately goes off to the right hand side, a bit ugly, but it's the first time that Jeffrey Schlupp has dived in. He's been holding his position, he's been defending really well, but he dived in there a bit cheaply, allowed the space behind for Elise, and then once they're at you, they're gone, and they're winning it back a little bit more now. You just see Kim there going and pressing in really strong, and this is feeling like Celtic get a little bit tired.
Stanisic into Musiala. Musiala trying to trick his way past the defender in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Carter Vickers reacts and sends it behind. Kane was a little bit on his heels there. It goes behind and out for a corner.
It's really good play from Musiala, but as a striker you don't expect him to put that in, because he does a little drag back, and as it's coming back into his feet he just hits it first time near post, and Kane, I think, is anticipating a bit of a stand up to the back post. I don't know about you, but the last 3 or 4 minutes it's felt like Celtic have just got a bit tired, they've gone a little bit off the pace, and it feels like Bayern are starting to grow and really dominate going into these last couple of minutes.
I also think you're going to get spells like that in a game like this, aren't you, where you're going to end up on the back foot for a period, and then you've got to try and somehow get yourself out. Here is the corner, Kimmich to take it in towards Upamecano, drops on the edge of the box after good defending from Celtic, and they clear it to halfway. You're listening to Bayern Munich against Celtic in the Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Cross from the right from Kimmich is blocked by Callum McGregor, and it's out for a throw with 7 minutes to go before half-time.
Again on that set piece, you've got Upamecano. He's free, he's going into that 6-yard box, and it's a good header from Trusty, but there's 3 corners now, and every single time there's been a player free. If they get it right, they will be in and having a free header or a free shot on target like they did in the first leg. Celtic, to me, haven't learned from the first leg yet from a set piece point of view.
Something that they've got to adjust to very quickly. Here is Elise, played in by Musiala, who wants it back again, gets it back, and then tries to feed it through the centre, but he's a little bit ambitious and runs through to Kasper Schmeichel. Vincent Kompany was saying yesterday he was warning against complacency. He is insisting that it would be a tough game this for Bayern, despite what everyone was saying in the build-up to it, pointing out how dangerous Celtic can be. And he's been proved right in a way, because Celtic have been dangerous tonight. And we've seen shock results in this season's Champions League. Feyenoord have gone to Milan tonight and knocked them out. Club Brugge are going to knock out Atalanta this evening. You know, Monaco beat Barcelona earlier in the campaign. Brest did really well early in the competition. You know, there's some big results that have happened in this new format of the Champions League this season, and then it has increased the competitiveness, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a lot of talk, wasn't it, at the start of the season about would this be a good thing, would this be a bad thing. To be fair to you, you said it straight away, it'd be good. We know you like change and you do like a gadget as well, so these are the type of things you've embraced. But I just think, you know, right now it's looking like a tall order. They need half-time, and they certainly need to go in 0-0.
Lots of space for Gnabry to feed the ball in towards the edge of the box, and why on earth has he not fed it for Goretzka? Goretzka was screaming for it, do it down the middle. He was in acres of space, completely missed by the Celtic defence that has switched off there and were caught short. And they did not take the simple option, the simple route, and they've missed a big chance to get in front.
And that, you just hit the nail on the head there, the simple route. It seems at the moment they're trying to get that iconic moment, that worldy pass, as opposed to if they just would have slipped a simple ball in Musiala there into Goretzka, it'd have been 1v1. If he didn't want to do that, just do a little reverse pass and Harry Kane would have been 1v1. As I said, it just get a little bit leggy now, this Celtic team. They need a couple of minutes on the ball, or at least an attack to give them a bit of confidence to get to half-time.
Bit of space out on the far side for Jota. They're keeping the ball on halfway here. You listen to Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 0 in the Champions League. Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. 3.5 to go. Celtic still very much in this game. They will have to bide their time. They officially didn't have a shot in the first half of the first leg, but they did have a goal disallowed very early on, and a penalty claim overturned late on in controversial circumstances. They're coming forward here with Johnston in towards the near post. Easy catch for Manuel Neuer, who I think probably is thinking to himself, I have been busier than I thought I was going to be tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think he's thinking, should we not have to raise the tempo? He's a little bit frustrated. He's won the ball there from a bit of a stand-up. He's gone and collected it, and then he's looking at his team because he wants to get them going and fire a bit of enthusiasm into it. But Bayern just feel like they're a little bit caught in between. Should they go and kill this game off with another goal, or do they just keep doing what they're doing, which is dominating with the ball and suffocating this Celtic team? And I don't know what you think, but it feels a little bit like it's neither here nor there at the moment for Bayern Munich.
Well, the problem they've got is that they keep giving it away in these areas, and they've done it again, and Engels has now fed the ball out towards the left-hand side. Hatate's ball is behind Maida, and it's tidied up by the Bayern defence, and that's the issue. It's all right suffocating teams with the ball if you keep the ball, but if you give it away 10 yards outside your box, you invite chances, and that's not the first time that's happened tonight. Now they'd look to break down the right-hand side with Elise. 2 minutes before half-time. 0-0 the score, 2-1 on aggregate to Bayern. It's with Elise cutting in field. Touched on to Goretzka. And Gnabry is to his left. And now it's out towards the near. Bayern have had an incredibly impressive home run this season. Only one opposition side have managed to avoid defeat here this campaign. Do you know who it is? Give you a guess. Bayern Leverkusen.
Nice.
Of course it is. They're like kryptonite to Bayern Munich at the moment, which is why they want to avoid them should they get through to the next round of the competition.
Sorry, I think this is where Vincent Kompany will be frustrated. They had an opportunity to counter-attack. They've kept the ball. They've come into they're probably 40 metres into the Celtic half, but they're going back. It's a bit tippy-tappy.
Here on the right-hand side, Goretzka drives the ball into Kane. First time shot hits the crossbar, comes back out, and Celtic managed to get it clear. Well, Harry Kane swiping at the ball from inside the box. A lovely little cutback from Goretzka, and he rifled the crossbar. Back in it goes from the right-hand side. Goretzka again with the delivery. This time it's half cleared. Comes to Elise, who's left-footed shot over the top of the crossbar. Doesn't trouble Schmeichel. But certainly the effort from Harry Kane before that did. He smacked the woodwork.
It's really good play for down that right-hand side, and Stanisic just pulls the lovely ball back, drills it to the penalty spot. Harry Kane, in that sweeping motion that he does time and time again, leaning back, just passes it into that far corner. Fortunately for him, it hits the bar. But it's that moment, you can feel it coming, you can feel that tension building, that Bayern are going to get another chance just before the end of this half.
Well, you would expect them to score. They always score. They have failed to score in just one of their last 34 Champions League home matches. But they have failed to score in that first 45 minutes, a 45 minutes that has no injury time. Harry Kane coming the closest for Bayern Munich. Chances for Celtic prior to that, which could have put Brendan Rodgers' team in front on the night and level on aggregate. Bayern Munich have progressed from each of their last 13 Champions League two-legged ties after winning the first leg. But tonight will be different if Celtic take chances like the ones they carved out in that first 45 minutes. Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 0. It's 2-1 to Bayern on aggregate.
Well, how bad have Bayern Munich been in that first half? Other than a couple of Kane chances where he's forced a good save, then swept that one onto the bar just before half-time. But Troy Deeney, we'll talk about the three golden chances, 2 in one move that Celtic had. But early on, if you go back to the Kevin Hatchard analysis of how Bayern Munich play, when McGregor robs the ball off Elise after about 7 minutes or so, runs towards goal, shoots high and wide, he has to do much, much better than that. He has to at least force Neuer into a save. That's exactly what Kev was talking about, how Celtic could capitalise against the way this Bayern side play. And they've had chances, they just should have done better with the chances.
Absolutely, Aidan, and what you're talking about is actually the worst of the 4 chances. That was one where they should have hit the target. The other 3 chances, they should have scored. The great ball across from Eccles, and Maeda was just on his heels. Kun had an opportunity where he didn't really go with any conviction. It just feels like Bayern Munich can raise this a level or 2, and it feels like Celtic need an opportunity. We're just getting the stats come up. There's 3 total attempts, 0 on target for Celtic, when it should have been at least 1, maybe 2-0 to them. And then you get that opportunity right at the end there for Harry Kane, who does what he does, where he hits a target all the time. He's had 2 shots, 1 the keeper saved and 1 that's hit the bar. You're not going to keep him quiet for the whole of this game. They have to take those chances when they get it, but they should take a lot of confidence as well, Aid. Go to what Kev said and just how high and wide this back line is, because it's open every single time if they have a little bit more belief.
You were talking about how Brendan Rodgers will feel at half-time. I personally think he'll be gutted because they've had some great chances. Talk to me about the Maeda one where Upamecano makes an error, the ball slotted into Maeda. He's got all the time in the world. He's got options either side as well. He takes a first-time shot that's well off target. I mean, listen, I know you've scored from that position, you'll have missed from that position as well. What's going through a player's head when they are in that position?
At that moment, Aid, what he's seen is, as that ball's been set to him first time, he's had a look at where the goalie is. He sees that Manuel Neuer is sprinting back into his goal, and he just tries to feel it, a little pass, a little chipped pass into the goal. He just gets it wrong. It just comes off the higher side of his foot towards the toe, which doesn't allow for the turn on the ball, which would have took it towards the goal. It looks really ugly when you miss like that. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where I think he got a little bit of rush of blood. He may be a little bit calmer, would have turned, slipped in Jota, would have been 1v1. Could have took a touch himself and ran forward and tried to get a shot off. But you get that moment, Aid. It happens in all strikers' career when you're like, here's my chance, this is my moment up in lights.
Listen, I think Bayern Munich have been rubbished. Kane with a couple of chances you've talked about already, but why have they been so bad?
Been caught half and half, I would say, Aid, between do we keep the ball, tire down this Celtic team and wait for the opportunities to open, versus the front 4 who are kind of cheating a little bit. They're not running back and they're not defending, and they're all trying to score the perfect goal. They're trying to do this extra hard pass as opposed to the simple passes, and it's just becoming a little bit of a type of game. Not really much happening, and there's a lot of mistakes creeping in.
And what type of game? What's that noise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I do when my wife tells me what I'm supposed to do in the house.
We all know exactly what you mean. That's the thing. It's not even a word, and we know exactly what you're talking about. Troy, for the time being, thanks very much. Club Brugge have gone 3-0 up in Bergamo against Atalanta. Extraordinary. That means they're 5-1 up on aggregate, and they are heading through to the last 16. And there's another goal in the game in the Championship at Deepdale, Natalie Pike.
It's Preston 1, Millwall 1, and Preston have come out determined in the opening minutes of this half. The equaliser coming for Rees. He wins it in the middle of the park, and it's a beautiful half volley from about 20 yards out into the bottom left of the corner. His 9th of the season. Preston 1, Millwall 1.
And in League One, we just got underway in the second half here at Adams Park, where it's Wickham 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Wrexham and Orient at 1 apiece, Burton 1 up at Stevenage, Shrewsbury Huddersfield goalless, Lincoln lead at Mansfield 1-0, Crawley 1, Wigan 1. In League 2, no goals at Fleetwood, second place Wimbledon are there. It's Morecambe 0, Doncaster 1 and Notts County 1, Colchester 0, and no goals on TalkSport 2 as yet in the Virtue Trophy semi-final. Birmingham 0, Bradford 0, a game that kicked off at 8:10. You're listening to TalkSport.
Kick off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org. Kick off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
At Screwfix, we've locked the prices on everyday fan essentials. Like WD-40 at £6.98, a 100-pack of Easy Fix wall plugs at 94p, and a 200-pack of Gold Screw multi-purpose screws at £2.69. We've got your back with prices you can rely on the products you use the most. In stock and ready to go, saving you the hassle of shopping around. Order on the app and collect in-store today. Prices valid until at least 6th of April. Visit screwfix.com for T's and C's. Delivery charges and restrictions apply.
When it comes to sports betting, it's important to cool off and play safe. Set deposit limits to control your spending. Set timeouts when you need a break. And set reality checks to know how long you've been playing. Showtime ain't always go time. Stay safe, players, at BetMGM.
18+, please gamble responsibly.
This Tuesday, Amazon brings you the unmissable UEFA Champions League match. It's Bayern versus Celtic.
Magnificent. Wonderful goal.
This Tuesday, Bayern versus Celtic. It's on Prime.
At Betfred, we want to support all our customers in keeping their gambling fun.
I'll just have a bet usually every home game, really, because it's maybe only twice a month.
I'm like that with the boxing when there's like a big hype around it and I want to get involved, but like it's not that often.
To be fair, I often just put a time out on me, you know, if it starts getting a bit too much.
Taking a break is just one of the ways that you can gamble safely.
Do you have like a regular team that you bet on?
I won't bet on the team I support.
He'll just disappoint you twice.
How do you keep it fun? Gamble safely with Betfred.
At AJ Bell, we've made setting up your ISA easy. So easy, a baby could do it. Though babies can't invest. They certainly wouldn't have any use for our low-cost investment platform, or the coordination to use it. Even though it's really, really easy. They also don't listen to radio ads. Unlike you clever sausage. Now, set yourself up with an ISA as a reward. You can even set one up for your baby. Open one in under 15 minutes and start investing today. AJ Bell. Feel good investing. The value of your investments can go down as well as up.
The early kickoff, the coupon buster, the acca cracker, the one to swerve. Not with LiveScore Bet, because we have you covered with money back as a free sports bet if your bet loses. Available on all markets every Premier League Saturday 12:30 match this season. You won't want to miss another early kickoff. LiveScore Bet, total betting.
First cash bet placed from 9 a.m. Thursday till match end each week. Free bet varies £1 to £20 per member. See on login. Valid 7 days. T's and C's apply. 18+. Bet responsibly. Gambleaware.org.
Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent on TalkSport Drive with Motorpoint. Destination sports conversation fueled by unfiltered opinion with quality guests as standard and a couple of motor mounts.
Something's not right, is it?
That's rubbish. It's the daily radio road trip that takes you to the farthest corners of the nation's football fanscape.
I'm just in my flat, chilling out.
Yeah, I think you might be my favourite so far, Martin. Have a wonderful afternoon.
TalkSport Drive, tomorrow afternoon from 4 on TalkSport with Motorpoint. There's no car like a Motorpoint car.
Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
on 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker.
Oh, what a finish!
The Champions League live on Talk Sport.
You're listening to the Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. We have got a big goal actually at top of League One. Wycombe goalless with Bristol Rovers here, but good news for Wycombe in North Wales. Dave Rowe.
It's Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 2. They've turned it around here. Jamie Donnelly, who we know can produce the spectacular, he's done just that from a corner from the left-hand side, taken by Galbraith towards the near post, headed clear to the edge of the area in the D, and taking it first time on the volley on the left foot. Donnelly beating Howard. The Wrexham players were complaining maybe that Howard was impeded in the area. The keeper really never saw it. Donnelly's fantastic strike. It's Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 2.
Yeah, I think he's hit one of them before this season. Fantastic strike. Elsewhere in the EFL, Colchester have equalised at Notts County. A Zach Johnson own goal makes it 1-1. And at the top of the National League, Barnet go 2 up against York. Leon Love adds to the 2 he scored at the weekend to make it Barnet 2, second placed York City 0, and a goal here at Adams Park, and the home side take the lead. Ian Abrahams.
Wycombe 1, Bristol Rovers 0. I didn't think it was ever going to come actually. It's been really scrappy to play. Initially it was Xavier Simons who led the break forward, played the ball out to his left hand side. I thought actually right would have been the option, and it took Wycombe a while to actually get into a scoring position, and I think it might well be Humphreys with a low drive into the corner of the net. He's one that's certainly been highlighted this season, Adrian, as being a lone player from Ipswich that Wycombe are relying on heavily, especially that Aaron Morley went back to Bolton in the January transfer window, and it's a good low drive inside the corner of the net. It's Wycombe 1, Bristol Rovers 0. Yeah, all sorts of bodies in there, and a foot over it from a Wycombe striker as well, and it goes into the corner of the net, and Wycombe take the lead. And Sunday on TalkSport 2, there's a couple of big EFL games live and exclusive commentary. First up from 11:45, it's the Hearts Beds derby, Watford against bottom of the table Luton in the Championship. Then at 2:45 in League One promotion chasing Wrexham go to Nigel Clough's Mansfield. They're in awful form, 1 point from the last 7 league games, and they're losing tonight as well. That's on TalkSport 2 Sunday afternoon. Let's get the half-time Champions League odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So half-time, second half to come on TalkSport. It's Bayern 0, Celtic 0. Let's talk about the on-the-night game rather than what can happen over the 2 legs. So on the night, Bayern are 9-4 on to win in 90 minutes. Celtic are 8-1. The draw is 27-10. Remember, Celtic have had some really good chances in that first half. Jamal Musiala to score any time is 5-2. Harry Kane to be first goal scorer, also 5-2. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes 18 plus. BigGambleAware.org.
Odds update on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Tomorrow night on TalkSport 2, Man City have to overhaul a 3-2 deficit away to Real Madrid in their Champions League knockout phase playoff second leg. City have only won at the Bernabeu once in their history. That was back in 2020, and Pep Guardiola's admitted today that they'll need to play a perfect game to qualify to the round of 16.
Yeah, you have to make an almost perfect game, obviously. The result is not good. Always we came with a more or less good result, but the result is not the perfect situation. We have to attack, we have to score goals. But it's the same, you have to go to Anfield or Arsenal right now, or go to Barcelona right now, or the big teams in Europe that qualify the top 8, I would say. If you go away, will be quite similar. Have to play a really good game, especially after the result we took in the first game.
Yeah, listen, I was at the Etihad at the weekend. They were brilliant, Man City, and destroyed Newcastle 4-0. Nico in midfield was superb, and Marmoush obviously with a hat-trick, but that's a big ask. And even in their treble season, they couldn't go to Madrid and win. That's what they need to do tomorrow night live on TalkSport 2. And while that's on TalkSport 2, I'll be at Villa Park for Aston Villa against top of the Premier League Liverpool, and live exclusive commentary of that Premier League game is only on TalkSport. And a bit of breaking news elsewhere. Liverpool's closest challengers, Arsenal, their defender Takahiro Tomiyasu has confirmed on his social media channels he's had knee surgery Japanese 26-year-old's played just 6 minutes of league football this season due to injury. He'll be hoping that surgery will clear that problem up, and he's unlikely, we think, to play again this season. There's a goal on TalkSport 2, and who else but Jay Stansfield has put Birmingham City in front right on half-time, actually. That is the half-time scoreline. Whistle has gone. Birmingham 1, Bradford City 0. Jay Stansfield with the goal in the 48th minute of that first half. Gateshead in the National League were 2-0 up against Sutton United. Is now 2-2. A couple of goals either side of half-time for Sutton United has level that up. Elsewhere in the National League, Barnet 2 up. Forest Green a goalless at bottom of the table. Ebbsfleet, Fields 1, Boston 2, Gateshead 2, Sutton 2. No goals at Hartlepool, Oldham or Southend, and it's Yeovil 1, Tamworth 1, and Morton lead Hamilton by a goal to nil in the Scottish Championship. And in the Champions League tonight, earlier, Milan 1, Feyenoord 1 meant that the Dutch went through. Kyle Walker and AC Milan are out of the Champions League. Feyenoord win it 2-1 on aggregate. Milan having Theo Hernandez sent off as well. Atalanta 0, Club Brugge 3. It's 5-1 to the Belgians on aggregate. Munich 0, Celtic 0. We'll be back there very shortly for the second half. 2-1 to Bayern Munich on aggregate, and Benfica 1, Monaco 1. Benfica leading by 2-1 on aggregate. We'll update you with the EFL goals as they go in throughout the course of the second half, but let's get back to Germany for commentary of the second half. Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 0, Bayern Munich 2-1 up on aggregate. Here's Troy Deeney and Sam Atface.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Yes, welcome back to Munich, the Allianz Arena, which is illuminated in all red around its outside. It looks like a futuristic spaceship has just landed in the middle of Frott Manning on the edge of Munich, but it is in fact a terrific football stadium that usually hosts a terrific football team. This is a Bayern Munich side who have won 6 Champions Leagues. How they would love to return to the final this time around, with the final being here. And the fact that the final is in Munich, I think, adds extra pressure. They're going to make a change at half-time. Harry Kane is coming off, Troy Deeney, and he's going to be replaced by Kingsley Coman. What do you make of that change?
Maybe an injury is all I can think of, because he's the only striker that they've got. He also had 2 shots, one at the keeper save, one that hit the crossbar. I don't think he did anything wrong, personally.
He didn't train yesterday, and Vincent Kompany was quite ambiguous about what the problem was with him. He was asked about it, and he said it's nothing serious, it's just a little bit of this and that, needs a little bit of extra recovery. He was asked then to clarify that, and he went, yeah, I just threw in a smoke bomb there, didn't I? I didn't give you any information for exactly what it was, and then just left it there.
Yeah.
So he was being very ambiguous about what was exactly wrong with Harry Kane. And Thomas Tuchel, who gets to pick his first England squad in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure will be looking at that situation closely.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at Coman going through there, it's now you've got a front four of a mix of wingers and number 10s, really. So they all offer pace and power. It's who's going to be able to be brave enough. And maybe Vinny Kompany saw something yesterday in training or the day before when they were going through shape that he liked. Harry Kane maybe feeling a little something coming at half-time, saying he feels a bit tight, and he said, right, let's go back to this. So I just think it's a massive half for Vinny Kompany as well, because if they don't win this game and they end up drawing but they go through, the first question everyone's going to ask is, what was wrong with Harry Kane? And he's going to have a lot to answer for.
Well, on the flip side of that, Brendan Rodgers, walked out of that tunnel in his big black puffer jacket to find out that Harry Kane is not playing for Bayern Munich in this second half, would be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been delighted there. The ball just got back to Kasper Schmeichel, who slipped as he kicked the ball, and thankfully it went straight to Carter Vickers. Otherwise that would have been an easy chance of goal.
Jota at the other end is trying to attack for Celtic early in the second half. It's come through to Hatate, who shimmies away from one defender, couldn't get his shot away. It's cleared out of the box by Upamecano, who feels as if he was fouled there inside the box. The referee didn't give a foul initially, waited till play developed, and then decided that he would do that. And the game has been stopped after 38 seconds of the second half. I'll go through the 2-11s for you in just a second, but there has been a goal at Wickham. Here's Ian Abrahams.
Wickham 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Ball over the top for Dan Udo on the 6-yard box. He took his time and he fired through a set of legs past the goalkeeper. Wickham 2, Bristol Rovers 0.
Here Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 0. Upamecano just getting a little bit of treatment down away to our left. He's back on his feet now. We're back underway. Neuer is the Bayern goalkeeper. The back four is Stanisic, Upamecano, Kim and Guerrero. Kimmich and Goretzka in midfield with Olise on one flank, Gnabry on the other, Musiala and Kingsley Coman through the centre. And the ball has been played up towards Goretzka, who's burst the lines and into the box. A left-footed shot towards Schmeichel, who makes a really good save down to his left. He made himself huge. He came out, he shut down, narrowed the angle. He extended his body size. He's got about 3 tops on tonight because it's so cold. He looks a little bit more Michelin man than usual. He came out, made himself massive and made a good save.
Yeah, he looks like me, don't he, Sam? He looks like a big lad tonight. But I think when that ball got put through there for Goretzka, I actually think he should square it. I think it's Coman or Gnabry. Actually, Gnabry, because Gnabry's moved into the middle. Gnabry could have squared it, would have been a tap-in, but really good goalkeeping from Kasper Schmeichel. Big save from a big player in this moment.
Well, his dad was a Champions League winner with Manchester United, and he would have been proud of that save because he came out, smothered the ball very, very quickly, shut down the angle, made it difficult for Goretzka to find a way past him. And you need your goalkeeper to make saves like that on nights like this if you're going to have any joy.
Absolutely, and just looking at the tactical tweak that Bayern have made.
Here's the ball in towards the right edge of the penalty area. Gnabry out wide towards Stanisic. Gnabry again. Musiala is just in front of him. It's blocked by Schlupp. Comes out to Upamecano, who's joining the attack now. Into the feet of Musiala, who's just dropped outside the penalty area, right side. Recycled out towards the left by Bayern Munich, who keep hold of possession. The Celtic team will go through in just a second, but Coman, who's gone out to the left-hand side, cuts in on his right foot, just tries to nudge the ball into the centre. It's cut away by Johnston, Alistair Johnston, the right back, the Canadian right back of Celtic. Does a very good job in that position, and he's done a good job and will have to continue to do a good job tonight. Gnabry plays it back out wide. Coman now in the left wing position, attacking the goal away to our right. He looks to take on Johnston, goes on the outside, gets to the byline, looks to cut it through the penalty area. Tate getting back will nod it clear. He does so, but not with any great distance, and it comes back again with those cream shirts of Bayern Munich attacking the goal away to our right. Olise brings it down on his chest, sends it back into Stanisic, and then Kimmich gets it back wide. Now Olise again runs at the fullback. Schlupp comes inside, runs along the 18-yard line. Elise's shot, but it was well wide of goal, and Schlupp did really well to stick with him, really. And it goes out a player on the far side. I think you come up with a great point in the first half. Schlupp being at Palace with Olise is a major tool in his armoury tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He's obviously played with him, trained with him every day, and that gives you an insight as to what this player does and what he likes to do. But the best part from a defender's point of view, you know what he doesn't like to do because you've seen that. I think Jeff has done really well defensively against him today, and he's showing just that there's still life in the old dog yet. Anyone over 30 now, we like to try and put in a retirement home, but Jeff is showing that he can still do a bit. Just looking from a Bayern point of view with the...
given away cheaply by Upamecano. Again, it's the same attempt at a cross-field ball, which goes straight to Nicholas Kuhn. This time it was a little bit high and he couldn't get it under control. But it's another terrible ball across the face of his own goal by Upamecano.
He can't do it. It's as simple as that.
Well, the ball been won back over on the far side by Johnston. He thought he'd released it into the path of Maida, but he's been penalised by the referee for a foul on Kingsley Coman. I think it was a good tackle.
Yeah, Coman just screamed loud enough to deceive the referee. But I was just looking for what are the changes that Vidi Company has done, and obviously they play with the traditional 4. I'll give it away again.
Straight to Jeff Schlupp on this near side, and Celtic on the attack with Jota. Back out to McGregor, into Jota again. He looks to try and get down the left channel, flicks it into McGregor, who tries to help on what was an odd ball from Jota because he sort of flicked it over the top of a defender, found McGregor, but there was no next pass. There was no next phase of play for Celtic, but they've won it back again. That was a poor challenge by Goretzka. Upended Kuhn, but he's back on his feet now. They have it on halfway, and they're coming forward here down the left. And again, they're in this game.
Yeah.
Trusty. McGregor into Jota. Collision with Musiala. The ball ricochets kindly for Kimmich, who hoiks it back to Manuel Neuer, and they want a bit of a reset here.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say he's going to have to come off now, but I think Jota will come off. he's becoming a little bit of a luxury that Celtic can't afford to have at this moment in time. They're not seeing these key moments out. The little flick he's just done there was for no reason. He said it's an easier pass to keep it on the floor, but he does a little flick, and now he's saying that he's had a ball hitting his eye, and he'll be fine in 5 seconds. But what are we doing here? It's a Champions League game.
Oh yeah, he got the ball in the face. We've had to stop it for a few minutes. I mean, they are running down the clock here. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And maybe they've disrupted that unbelievable head of hair, which is particularly impressive, I think, of Jota, who's now getting squirted in the eye by some sort of magical eye juice. I'm just being clear, he did just get hit in the face with the ball. It was no other finger or elbow or anything like that.
It grazed him at best. Honestly, I'm sat here with disgust. It's like they're giving him eye drops. Anyway, and now all of a sudden he's back and he can play again. Remarkable, isn't it, Sam? How many of these top pros are always just miraculously recovered in 15 seconds.
Might have been a little bit cynical there. There's some good stuff in that magical eye juice.
Oh, is there? Well, I hope they give me some, because my right eye's playing up as well, but it's called having glasses.
Ball on halfway. Celtic with Schmeichel in goal, Johnston, Carter-Vickers, Trusty and Schlupp the back four, Engels, McGregor and Hatate in midfield, Kun, Maida and Jota in attack. And they're in dark green tonight, no hoops, attacking the goal away to our left in this second half. And they have history with Bayern Munich. It usually ends in heartbreak. In fact, the only time that Celtic have avoided defeat in this fixture came in the group stage under Martin O'Neill, when they drew 0-0 in Glasgow in November 2003. That result left Celtic top of Group A at the time, would you believe? And then just a few weeks later, they ended up being eliminated, going out, because Celtic lost 3-2 in Lyon on match day 6, and Bayern leapfrogged the boys, courtesy of a 1-0 home win against Anderlecht. Maybe Celtic can cause a stir tonight by getting on the score sheet. If they do get a goal, we will have extra time. Elise, a lovely reverse pass into the path of Musiala. Musiala tried to do a little back heel there and then caught it against his own feet, and there wasn't another Bayern player in the vicinity, so it was an odd decision to try and play that ball, but it was a brilliant, breathtaking pass initially from Elise.
Yeah, it was really good play from Elise. Just hops in on that left hand, off the right hand side onto his left foot, plays a nice little no-look reverse pass in behind Celtic, and really Musiala should do a lot better. He's trying to score like a little back heel. It's a bit FIFA in the way he did it. There was no real need for it, but they're turning up the pressure again.
Coman down the right-hand side, played in by Elise. They're on the attack in the right wing position. Send it back to Goretzka, immediately shut down by Maida. Excellent work by Maida, because Goretzka thought he had all the time in the world. He hadn't checked his wing mirrors, and coming from behind him was Maida. But Elise is on the charge again. Down the right as Bayern look at it. He's had his pocket picked by Schlupp once more. Picked up by Stanisic, and then it's switched to the far side. They'll look for a different angle of attack here. Good tackle by Carter-Vickers to get the ball off Musiala. And Celtic have defended really well tonight. There have been moments, there have been those little scares. There has been the Harry Kane effort against the bar. But having got into a position where Kane has had to come off at half-time, there haven't been too many worries for the Celtic backline, but there might be now. Musiala gets the ball back and accelerates towards the left edge of the box. Now Kimmich looks to try and steer it to Stanisic, far post. His ball is terrible and goes straight behind. You could see what he wanted to do. He wanted to try and get that across the 6-yard box, but he didn't put enough on it, and it just sort of hit his foot and went behind.
Yeah, it was more of a lazy ankle, but we're just getting a replay of that earlier chance from Goretzka, where it's a great save from Kasper Schmeichel. Just looking from a Bayern point of view of the shape, it looks like Vinny Kompany's giving them a little bit of a rocket at half-time, telling them to move the ball a lot quicker. It's a traditional 4-3-3, but what they've done now, they've put Coman on that left-hand side, moved Gnabry inside, and then they've gone with 2 10s as opposed to any striker. What that is causing Austin Trusty and Carter-Vickers to feel like they have to go tight with one of them, and it's leaving big spaces where Goretzka could just run through the middle, because the 2 centre-halves are naturally trying to go to the player that they see in front of them. So just something to keep an eye on. If they get that third-man run going by Munich, they'll be in 1v1.
It's Kasper Schmeichel for the way he charged out, but the way that Trusty ate up the ground, got back and threw himself, actually meant that he narrowed the angle for Goretzka as well, so there was only a small area to put it down the side of Schmeichel. Schmeichel obviously did brilliantly by coming out, but he had a big contribution to defending that moment too.
Absolutely, and he's an excellent athlete. He's one of these players that when you're watching him, you're like, oh my God, you're a bit of a freak, because he can cover the yards, as you say. He's got a great leap, really aggressive in the tackle, really aggressive goes ahead of it. I just think if he wants to make that grade and that jump to go to Champions League regularly, to be a starter for the USA regularly under Pochettino, he's got to get a bit more refined and a bit more finesse with the ball. It's a little bit forced at this moment in time.
Jota takes the ball down on the left-hand side, looks to try and tease his way past Elise, succeeds. He's got Schlupp joining him in attack, and then he plays a really poor ball in between Hatate and Schlupp, and as a result, Bayern nab it and move up the pitch quickly. They thought they'd got a free kick, Celtic. They haven't. And now Stanisic is on this near side. There's only 3 players back for Celtic. Stanisic takes on McGregor. Arriving is Elise. At the far post is Coman. Coman inside the area, inside the box now. Goes down the side of Johnston. Good tackle by Johnston. And brilliant defending by the Canadian once again.
Really good defending, but again, Jota becoming a little bit of a luxury, actually becoming a bit more of a liability at this point. Gets into really good positions, and I don't know whether it's his time in Saudi, I don't know. He just looks like he's trying to do something a little bit too fancy every single time, as opposed to having that killer instinct, and he's costing Celtic, because when that ball gets transitioned, it ended up being a 2v1. It was actually a bad pass from Stanisic on that right-hand side, otherwise it'd have been in on goal, and then defensively from Johnson was an excellent recovery run to get back at Coleman and then to not dive in and sell himself short. But I just feel like Bayern are turning the screw a little bit now, and Celtic needs to be careful over these next 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, well, he certainly has looked a little bit ring rusty. It is only his 6th appearance this season since rejoining in January, but he was in Saudi Arabia for very long. He ended up spending the first half of this season at Rennes and was taken from Rennes for 8.4 million in the January transfer window. He's back in the East End of Glasgow now, but yet to hit his stride. Here's Musiala from the edge of the penalty area, testing the reflexes of Schmeichel, who didn't even need to touch it because it was going well wide. And here comes the change, and I think we won't be surprised to see that it's Jota who comes off and Adam Ida who comes on.
That's interesting. I think it's a big night for Adam Ida. Big fan of his from when he was at Norwich. I remember him playing against me at Watford early doors, and the guys there asked me to talk to him because he was a young man trying to learn his trade, and having a chat with him and seeing his growth and development is really interesting. But I feel at 24 years old now, he needs to start taking games by the scruff of the neck, and he does it every now and again, but on a more consistent basis. And tonight's a massive game for him. He's got to look after the ball, but he's also got to do what Maeda did, which was running behind and cause problems, because if he stands too static, it will allow for this Bayern team to just keep growing into the game.
5 goals in his last 5 games for Adam Ida, 13 for the season so far. If he was to score tonight, it would be an historic one, especially if Bayern, as tame as they have been so far. An hour gone, Bayern 0, Celtic 0. There is still all to play for, and look, OK, they've had some great chances, Celtic, and not taken them, but if they were to have designed this game, they would have designed it in a way in which they had something to shoot at in the final half an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really disappointed, and I know Vincent Kompany wants a possession-based, ball-dominant team. I totally get that. But when Celtic press like they just did, and it's a full-court press, and they get out down the opposite side, they break away, and then they get to the edge of the box, and then they stop. And then they go all the way back to the goalkeeper and do it all again. It's like, that's why I was saying at half-time, I don't know whether they're trying to kill the team with possession and hope that later in the game that the tired legs take shape, or they're just not very good. I don't really know what it is. I'm really confused.
Well, we might find out in the next half an hour, because
I hope so.
We'll find out whether or not Celtic do tire and their plan works, or whether or not Celtic take advantage of the fact that they haven't put this tie to bed, and they haven't. It's 2-1, 0-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate, and we're live in the Champions League in Munich on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise has 120,000 people every day that it helps. Here is Trusting Across to McGregor. McGregor through to Hatate, who has to slide to feed it to Engels. Engels pokes it out wide, where it's collected over on the far side by Kuhn, who releases Idar, who gives Upamecano a bit of a problem. And Upamecano just had to use his physicality to edge Idar off the ball there. And Bayern have it safely in the arms of Manuel Neuer.
Do you feel the same as what I was just saying, though? It feels like Bayern get out, they have an opportunity to counter-attack or go and finish the action, and then they just stop and go, right, let's keep the ball again for 15 passes for no reason.
I mean, it shouldn't do, because we know the statistics this season, the number of goals they've scored and the number of matches they've won. They have a lead at the top of the Bundesliga of 8 points, but it feels like they have no killer instinct. Here is Elise down the right. He might try to unleash one here, he does. But again, it's not an effort where you've got Celtic panicking, and you know, a team like Bayern Munich, and Adrian mentioned the wage bill earlier, but a team of real stars in this Bayern Munich team, the best team in the Bundesliga, you would have thought would have caused Kasper Schmeichel more problems than they have this evening.
Absolutely. He's made, what, three saves, one where he's actually had to save it, the other two where it's gone straight at him. Adam Idar's come on and done excellently well already in the link-up.
Might come through to Maida here. It does come through to Maida. Tries to steer it into the path of Kuhn, who's in behind. This is a big chance.
My God.
It's a brilliant goal. And Celtic lead in the Allianz. This could be an historic goal for Nicholas Kuhn. His 18th of the season. An absolutely magical moment for Brendan Rodgers. Maida has managed to make up some ground. And as Bayern switched off, he poked it to Nicholas Kuhn, and the German in Munich has stolen the show. They've had several chances tonight, they've now buried one, and Celtic lead against Bayern Munich on the night. It's all square on aggregate in the Champions League playoff.
Well done to Maida. It's great play from Adam Idar at the start. He clears the ball down the left-hand side. Maida just chases, doesn't give up on a lost cause, runs across, gets a ball that he has no right to get. And then Kim, everyone keeps telling me how great and world-class this defender is. He's literally going to win the ball. For some reason, decides to slide when he could have took it. Passes it straight to Kuhn, who takes a touch on his left foot. 1v1 with the goalie. And as calm as you like, just passes it into the far corner. 1-0. Absolutely brilliant for Celtic. Sam, it's game on.
Well, Celtic gave themselves a sliver of hope with their goal in Glasgow. They have given themselves a massive opportunity now. Two changes immediately from Vincent Kompany. Serge Gnabry goes off. Leroy Sané comes on. Guerrero off. Alphonso Davies on. Pace in abundance for Bayern Munich has been deployed for the final 25 minutes. They need a goal to avoid extra time.
Yeah, you could feel that these changes were happening, but we spoke about it again for the last 15 minutes. Vincent Kompany will have a team that's playing really good football and they'll dominate and they'll have all these wonderful stats. And the possession, I'm just looking at it now, is 65% possession. There's nothing there. There's no killer instinct. There's no desire to go and run beyond people and go and make things happen. He'll be really disappointed, and I'm sure this German fan base will be letting him know very, very soon, if this doesn't pick up, that this isn't good enough. But as for Celtic, well done. Excellent game plan from Brendan Rodgers. We thought they maybe lost their opportunity with the 3 chances in the first half, but that chances came, and what a finish from Kuhn. Just pulled it into the corner.
It was a catalogue of Bayern errors that led to the opportunity, but you need to be able to put that pressure on. Maida and Kuhn deserved that chance, and they managed to somehow just get in front of the Bayern defence on 2 occasions in quick succession. The first one made up ground that he should never have been able to make up, and then Kuhn got there despite the fact that Kim was already sliding in to make an intervention but not crisp enough with his challenge. So look, I mean, fair play to them. They had a much better second half at Celtic Park, where they had 9 attempts in that second half to Bayern's 5. They had 19 touches in the opposition penalty area, and this second half again has gone according to plan for Brendan Rodgers.
Absolutely, and I think the fact that they've had to bring on Alphonso Davies and Leroy Sané just shows that they're going to have to go now with some real pace. They've moved Elise inside now to try and make 2 10s. This is a huge game for Vincent Kompany, and I know Vincent, and I'm a friend of Vincent's, but this is interesting, because this team cannot go out. This fan base will not allow it. The German media won't allow it. And if you go out, like we said, Harry Kane came off at half-time. We don't know why. The changes that you've made, you're allowing yourself to be questioned. And unfortunately, these are the type of games that you can get you sacked.
Well, lifting the trophy for a 7th time in their own city would certainly feel extra special. Going out before the last 16 certainly wouldn't. Here is an opportunity for Zane to get into the box. He runs down the right. He's being watched by Maida. Goes back to Kimmich. Far side is Coman. Inside the Celtic penalty area now. Coman gets it back to Musiala. Tries to shift it onto his right foot. Lays it square. Collected by Kimmich and then chipped out to the far touchline. Taken on by Coman. Everyone in Celtic colours behind the ball and defending. Coman tries a firecracker from the edge of the box, which goes straight through to Kasper Schmeichel, and the ball is cleared away. 67 played. It is 1-0 to Celtic on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. And Troy, that is the 5th attempt on target that they have managed tonight. Coman from the edge of the area. But I think only one of them has caused Kasper Schmeichel grief, and that was the Goretzka effort.
Absolutely, and just thinking there as well, when Leroy Sané's got loads of meat behind that, loads of power, gets a great shot off. But how nice is it for Celtic and their players to have Kasper Schmeichel just take it, didn't spill it, didn't do anything silly, just kept hold of the ball, and he just calms everyone down. Having that presence behind it is unreal, in my opinion. A little bit of a problem here for Kun. Looks like he's gone down and cramped it up. Just put a lot of work in on that right-hand side, hasn't he?
What a night for him. Never made a senior appearance for Bayern Munich. How he must have loved showing them what he is capable of. A player who came through the ranks here in Munich, who might well have just stolen the headlines in the Allianz. A lovely finish, a lovely moment. Brendan Rodgers jumping around inside the technical area. They knew they'd get one big chance again in this second half. They have taken it. They don't want to lose Kun, but they're going to have to replace him here. And it's going to be Hyunjun Yang who comes on, the South Korean winger, in his stead for the final 21 minutes. Bayern fan base, look at them. Look at the Bayern fans reacting to that goal going in. They were absolutely distraught by it. You know, I remember being here in 2012 when Chelsea were partying in Bayern's backyard, having beat them in the final. And they want to lay those ghosts to rest, but they could end up facing elimination here tonight, should they, and huge embarrassment, maybe humiliation might be the better word, if Celtic knock them out this evening.
Absolutely, it will be humiliating. It'll be a massive... We talk about how good of a win it will be for Celtic, and rightly so, but this will be, in terms of the history, be up there with one of the worst losses for Bayern Munich in their history. I do feel that they're going to get another chance or two, but they've got to up the tempo and the intensity. It seems like they've came into this game with a bit of a kind of a this could just be over whenever we want it to be.
Yang has won it over on the far side, pinched it from Alphonso Davies. It's sent forward by Engels. Maida's trying to get in behind here, and he gets the header in on goal ahead of Stanisic, and it's saved by Manuel Neuer. What a chance that was for Celtic to score a second in the Allianz.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit stretched now, but Maeda covers some distance, doesn't he? I don't know what his running stats are, but he's got to be up towards 10k already, and there's still 20 minutes left. Really good desire to get in at that back post, gets in front of Stanisic, and as he gets there, just a diving header. Unfortunately, that ball died with the pace, and he can't generate the pace to get that header past the keeper and Neuer. But again, for Celtic, now you'll start to believe, and they're going to start to press with a bit more intensity. At the start, I thought this was going to be a problem for Celtic, but for right now, this is a bunch of individuals that are probably thinking that they deserve to win. And there's a team in Celtic that have came here with a togetherness and a grittiness. And we spoke to John Hartson earlier on today on breakfast. He said these are the type of games you tell your grandkids. These are the games that you go away from going, this is the best night of my life. And these Celtic players are playing like that.
Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 1. 9.61 kilometres so far for Dezan Maida. You're right about him covering some ground. Ball into the box, away by Ida. Off to the game at Wickham, a goal for Ian Abrahams.
Over to sending off. Wickham 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Bristol Rovers sub Shaq 4. It's only just come on. Fouled Luke Leahy. Been sent straight off. What an idiot. Wickham 2, Bristol Rovers 0.
A ball to the far post by Sane, which is missed by everyone. Love that. Ian Abraham. Let's go off because there's been another red card to the game at Wrexham, Dave Rowe.
Yeah, Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 2. 3 minutes to go. Leyton Orient down to 10 men. Captain Darren Pratley, all the experience in the world, but couldn't deal with the long ball forward for Wrexham, which sent Jack Marriott scampering free. Pratley had already been booked, brought him down edge of the area. Red card shown. Orient down to 10 where they do lead here. Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 2.
Darren Pratley? He's still playing. He's almost as old as me.
Yeah, I feel like I should have carried on a little bit longer. How old would Pratt be now? 38?
He will be 40 in April.
Nice. Fair play to him.
He's doing brilliantly. And he is the captain of Leyton Orient, although maybe not tonight. That moniker of doing brilliantly is the apt one. But he's been a great servant to football, that is for sure. Rib scoring a great goal in a playoff semi-final. Here is Upamecano coming forward through the centre circle, playing it out towards the left-hand side. And then Alphonso Davies. Across comes Johnston. Again, he just watched it. Brilliant intervention. He sent the ball in behind, and Ida was trying to get away from Kim, who just this time marshalled it correctly and headed it wide.
Yeah, it's really interesting just to watch how Jeffrey Schlupp is playing against Elise. Every time he goes deep to get the ball, Jeffrey's just right up his backside saying, no problem, I'll be there.
Sane into Elise inside the area. He's upended. The referee says no foul, get back to your feet. Comes back towards Kimmich, edge of the box, chips it towards the far stick. It's headed wide by Goretzka, who's flying in. Oh, it's a brilliant move. And it was a delicate little ball into the box. Initially, Elise was bundled to the floor. No foul there. It came back out towards Kimmich. Kimmich's ball into the area was terrific. And Goretzka's header was only narrowly wide of the foot of the post.
Interestingly, just watching Kasper Schmeichel saying, time, no worries. He was confident that it was going wide. Lovely ball from Kimmich. I was just said, ooh, because I thought the way that Jeffrey Schlupp came in from behind it, maybe it got to Elise first, but it ended up being a great tackle. But again, even though it's a big chance, never felt like Bayern were going to score there. Even Kasper Schmeichel, as he's headed it, saying wide, really confident. Bayern have got to step it up. 15 massive minutes for Vincent Kompany and this Bayern Munich team.
Yeah, there have been 5 European Cup finals in Munich. Bayern have reached only one of those. They lost it in 2012. They would love the opportunity to reach another one. But the way things are going at the moment, they're going to have to endure 30 minutes of extra time and possibly penalties against Celtic, because Celtic lead in the Allianz Arena and Bayern haven't scored yet, and usually they always score. Here is Sane trying to get the better of Schlupp, who's been brilliant tonight. Cleared away by Celtic to halfway. Crawley 1, Wigan 1 in League One coming to an end. Mansfield being beaten at home by Lincoln in League One. Shrewsbury 1-0 down to Huddersfield in the dying moments. Burton with 10 players beating Stevenage away from home. Leyton Orient in front against Wrexham. Here is Coman down the left-hand side. His cross, not good enough, goes behind. It's out for a goal kick. Wickham about to complete a victory against Bristol Rovers in League 2. 0-0 Fleetwood Wimbledon. Morecambe 0, Doncaster 1. Doncaster down to 10 players. Notts County 1, Colchester 1. In the Champions League, Club Brugge going through against Atalanta. And Benfica, at the moment, in serious trouble because they thought that they were cruising through. They were 2-0 up at one stage on aggregate. It's now 2-2 on aggregate in Lisbon. Here is Coman, over on the far side, onto Musiala, tries to get his shot away. Brilliant challenge by Yang, comes back out to the edge of the area, and now it's with Sane on the other side, on the angle. He goes back towards Stanisic. Kimmich moves down the right now into an advanced position. Everyone in Celtic colours back behind the ball. Desperate defending, but well-organised defending as well. Plugging gaps, making sure there are no spaces. Here's Zane in towards the edge of the area. A little 1-2, gets into the box, shifts onto his left foot, drives it towards the near post. It's wide. Oh, what a chance for Bayern to get level and back in front on aggregate.
And that's the quality that Leroy Sané has. Oh, he's just missed the outside of the post. He plays a lovely ball off the right-hand side into Musiala, goes for the 1-2. As he gets it back, just really tight, really narrow, but gets a quick no backlift shot off, Kasper Schmeichel stood no chance. I know he's trying to be the calmest man in the building. He had no chance if that was half a foot inside the post. 13 minutes to go before the end of the game. Nicholas Kuhn's goal separates the two teams. The man who grew up in the Bayern Academy, never made a senior appearance for Bayern Munich, but has made a big contribution to Celtic's success here tonight. He had a great chance in the first half when I think maybe his emotions got the better of him. He was cool-headed in this second half, and they lead by a goal to nil. But here's Zane to Elise, edge of the area. That's a poor tackle by Engels. It's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box. And actually, they weren't really going anywhere there. It was a bit unnecessary from Arne Engels. It was actually a really poor decision from Sane. They broke down that right-hand side. They played literally a ball from the left back into the holding midfielder. Kimmich turned on the back foot, wrapped one out to Sane. It's 2v1. He's got Stanisic coming down that right-hand side, and all he has to do is roll him and he's into the box. Decides to come back inside weirdly to Elise, who then has to do a little bit of magic and gets a free kick. But it's a really good position, and maybe this is what it's going to take, a little bit of magic from a set piece to get this Bayern team up and running.
Benfica back in front on aggregate, 2-2 on the night in the Estadio de Lutz, and Cocky Troy is going to be disappointed to know that Bradford City have equalised in the game at St Andrews over on TalkSport 2. A goal from Bobby Poynton has levelled things up. How are you feeling now?
Oh, we're comfortable, don't worry. I've told A to load up the bus. We just want to make it interesting. The guys have travelled a long way. We want to make it an interesting night.
Free kick then to Bayern, edge of the D, just slightly right of centre. Elise steps up, left-footed, into the wall, comes back out towards Kimmich, who strikes it, takes a deflection, great save by Schmeichel, who bounds to his right and pushes the ball clear. Comes back out to Coman. Coman on the edge of the area, tries to feed it into Kimmich. Kimmich now down the left, Alphonso Davies arriving, away by Carter Vickers. Everybody camped inside the box in Celtic green. Bayern come forward again. It's on to Alphonso Davies, who drives it back through the penalty area. Stopped by Engels. They can't get it clear, but now Carter Vickers will hoist it into the sky. It still hasn't got any distance on it. It comes back from Musiala. Coman and Musiala eventually take the game back to Celtic. He tricks his way past two players, but the third is Callum McGregor, and he smashes it out for a throw-in over on the far side. It's a Celtic one and a bit of a breather. Let's go off to Preston. Natalie Pike.
It's just finished. Preston 1, Millwall 1, and it was two stunning goals in, quite frankly, what's been a bit of a dull game, often flat, very cagey. Both goals, though, came from about 25 yards out. A curling free kick from Ivanovic around the wall in the first half, and a neat half volley from Emil Rees in the bottom left in the second half. Both teams remain, as they started the day, in 14th and 15th. It's Preston 1, Millwall 1.
Well, we started the day with Bayern Munich favourites to go through to the next round of the competition. I think probably they're still favourites to do so, but they have been pegged back by Celtic, and we've just had a brilliant comedy moment where Vincent Kompany has gone onto the pitch, which he shouldn't do, to retrieve a loose ball so that the game can continue and the pace of the game can continue the way he wanted it. As he's run onto the pitch in his trainers, he slipped on his backside and the ball's gone even further into the middle of the pitch.
Well, it's a bit of a frustrating night, and that sums his night up in a nutshell. And it's nice to see Vincent Kompany on his backside, as opposed to him keep putting me on my backside every time we played against him. So I enjoyed that one.
Yep, that was a little bit of whoops. He's got bright white trainers on as well, and there's a big grass staying down one side of it now. Bayern 0, Celtic 1. The thing is, such is the relationship between Bayern and Adidas, he'll just go and get a new pair in the morning. But that might knock the wind out of his sails. Like the wind has been taken out of those Bayern Munich supporters. It's been a difficult night for them, a difficult night for their team. Celtic have the ball with Ida, who gets a little bit of contact from behind by Upamecano, not enough to win a foul, but he's out for a throw-in on this near side.
And that's the bit he's got to do a little bit better, Sam. He's got to sit into it, kind of like a half squat position, stick his backside out and make sure that he protects that ball. As this game gets longer and longer now, this back five and maybe the two in front have done a real good shift there. They're going to need him to, as a sub, look after the ball and give him a break, because it's just going to be Bayern pressure time and time again.
Well, no one expected it to go into extra time. Here's the moment that Vincent Kompany won't want to see again.
You see just Brendan Rodgers in the picture there, just trying his best to not give it a little bit of a smirk because he knows it might come back to haunt him. But to be fair, Vinny did smile it off, did laugh it off.
He did.
He's fuming inside though, isn't he?
Bayern 0, Celtic 1. This is Talk Sport. Tomorrow we've got Real Madrid against Manchester City, and again, you know, Manchester City written off by a lot of people going into that game in the Bernabeu, but you know what? Osasuna got a point against them at the weekend, so you never know.
Worked that game last week, Sam, and Man City were very good for the first half, very good. Probably should have been a little bit better off in their decision making, but you know, loads to play for.
Stanisic in towards the near post, flicked away by the retreating Carter Vickers and out for a corner over on the far side. We'll have Liverpool against Aston Villa for you tomorrow as well on Talk Sport. Bayern Munich want to restore their authority in this game. They want to get back in front. They don't want extra time tonight. They want to get this job done, but they haven't looked like doing so for a lot of the night. They've had a couple of opportunities, a couple of good opportunities, but they haven't taken them, and it's 1-0 to Celtic. They never lose here. They might lose here tonight. This is Kimmich over on the far side. There's a bit of chat going on between the French referee and a clutch of players on the penalty spot. Then there's another discussion with a few more. Oh dear, he is an official, isn't he? He is desperate for two players to come and have a word with him. He wants to speak to Kim and to Trusty, and he demanded their presence in front of him. Do you like a strong official like that?
Yeah, I do, but sometimes it's like, ref, just let us play. I think in this situation you normally see a foul go straight to Celtic now.
And they've got to be a little bit careful not to give away a penalty here. They don't want to gift a way back in. And there's a bit of wrestling going on at the far post. Engels has got to be very careful with the way that he's holding Goretzka. The ball has been sent into the box. It's headed away by Schlupp, comes through to Coman on the far edge. Slide tackle by Johnston again. Terrific intervention by him. Comes back into Zane. Then 10 yards from the edge of the penalty area. Davies cracks one. It's headed away by Adam Idar, and it goes out to the far side. 6 minutes to play. Deep cross into the penalty area. Schmeichel comes out and grabs it above everyone's head and then boots it forward. And Maida immediately tries to put them on the back foot, but Stanisic gets into position well. Full time at Wrexham. Let's go off to TalkSport's Dave Rowe.
Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 2. Big win for Orient in their playoff chase. Deserved it as well, coming from behind after an opener from Rathbone for Wrexham on 15 minutes. So Kelman scored an excellent equaliser before half-time. The winner was a terrific volley by Jamie Donnelly from the edge of the area, and Leyton Orient saw things out despite the late red card for Darren Pratley. Setback for Wrexham, who lose at home for winning the second time this season, but Orient in great form march on. Wrexham 1, Leyton Orient 2.
And we're off to Adams Park, where there has been a full-time whistle there for Ian Abrahams.
And that defeat for Wrexham, good news for Wickham, who won 2-0 here tonight. Wickham 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Second half goals from Cameron Humphreys and also Dan Udo, Bristol Rovers sub. Shaq Ford on for 6 minutes before deciding it was too cold, and then he fouled someone to get sent off. Well done, mate. Finished here, Wickham 2, Bristol Rovers 0.
Back here, it's Bayern Munich 0, Celtic 1. 2-2 on the night, 1-0 to Celtic on aggregate. How on earth has Bayern allowed this to happen? Well, it's happened because Celtic have been very good. Here is Yang holding on to it well, but then didn't have any options in front of him, so ended up having to check back. It's collected by Stanisic, who's trying to bundle his way forward to the edge of the area. It's kicked clear on the edge of the box, and then one by Kimmich on the edge of the centre circle. 5 minutes to go. Davis out towards the left, where it's collected by Bayern's Coman. Gets to the byline. The challenge comes in from Johnston again, and it goes out over on the far side. Tell you what, he's making a little bit of a name for himself, is Alistair Johnston. One of 4 Celtic players to have started all 9 Champions League matches this season. Certainly there's a good reason for that.
Just highlighted 3 players for me that stand out for Celtic, and it's a complete team performance, but Johnson, Schlupp and Schmeichel will be the key if they go on to get the result tonight.
Deep corner to the far post, flicked away by Hatate, and it's out for another one. Well, this is a key moment for Celtic because they don't want to concede from a set piece late on here. They don't want to concede full stop, but this is a key moment. Get to extra time. You've earned it.
Yeah. It feels like that every time though, from a set piece that Bayern have had a little bit more hunger and desire to go get it. And if they just got the ball right, they'd have a chance of a free header every single time.
And don't give anything away that's stupid or silly. Ball in towards the near post. A free header for Stanisic over the top of the crossbar. Well, that's a great opportunity.
And that's my point. They got the cross right this time, an outswing, and Stanisic gets away from Johnson, who's had an excellent game, but unfortunately just can't direct the header and keep it down. He just gets underneath it and it loops over to that far post. But just looking at this Celtic team, those three that are highlighted, Schlupp, Johnson and Schmeichel, will be the reason that they see this last 5 minutes out. But the best player on the pitch for me has been Maeda. They've got to see how many miles this guy's ran. He's still going, no side of cramp, no nothing, just gets on with his job every single time.
They're coming forward again down the right-hand side. Engels, oh dear, he's just cracked that one straight over the top of the bar from the right-hand side. They needed a little bit more poise in that moment, and he ended up sending it right out for a goal kick. He has covered 11.4 kilometres tonight as Dejan Maeda, as Adam Idar puts pressure on Joshua Kimmich, and it goes back to Manuel Neuer. But he's certainly not the most in terms of covering ground. That's gone to Callum McGregor. 12.7 kilometres he's covered tonight.
Nice.
And Engels 12 kilometres himself.
You'd expect that from your midfielders, but I just think for someone who's played up front and then as a wide man, especially when they've been in such a low block trying to counter-attack, he just seems to keep going as well, and his high intensity running, he's really, really impressive. This is the first time I've seen him live, and mightily impressed with the work he's been doing.
I mean, a lot of ground that they're covering tonight, the Celtic players. I mean, usually you'd cover around about 10, 11 kilometres over the course of a 90. When you're getting into 12s and nearly 13, you've covered a lot of turf. Celtic have had to do that tonight to keep Bayern at bay, and they've done that. Not many teams stop them scoring here. Not many teams stop them winning here. Only Bayer Leverkusen have stopped them winning here this season. And this is the first time that Bayern Munich are going to lose at home this campaign. And that is going to be significant. Unbeaten in the Champions League up until now on home turf. The only team that have beaten them here in a cup competition is the German Cup in the 3rd of December when Leverkusen won here. But apart from that, they are almost untouchable. I mean, in the Champions League, to lose 1-0 to Celtic at home, this is a low for Bayern Munich and for Vincent Kompany this season.
Yeah, absolutely, and we touched on that earlier. I think we've got to start saying just how well Brendan Rodgers has got this tactically. I think
absolutely
every single player has been excellent. There's not been a player that has been under an 8.5. They've all been excellent. The subs have come on and bought in and actually kept going. I just feel that right now this is getting into that squeaky bum time, we call it. It's when you start getting a little bit nervous and do things a little bit weird. Will Celtic be able to see it out, and will Bayern get that one more chance that they'll feel that they need?
4 minutes of additional time at the end of the 90, and are they going to take it to extra time, or is it going to be heartbreak at the end for Celtic? Kimmich has it just 15 yards outside the box. He shoots from distance. I mean, and that is not some distance, that is a mile out. And it's straight into the arms of Schmeichel, and Schmeichel just waves away everyone and says, yeah, well, I'm quite happy with that, thank you very much. Let's just waste a bit of time.
It feels a little bit like they've run out of ideas. It seems, and again, I don't want to be disparaging at all, but a system coach doing the same system and not being able to tweak and to be able to break something down and say to his players, can we do this and can we think like that? Quite disappointing from this Bayern Munich team.
Idar trying to get the better of Kim. He wanted to get a free kick there. The referee waved away the protest, and got to get the ball forward quickly here, have Bayern Munich, if they want to try and see out this last few minutes and get a winning goal before extra time. But 2-2 at the moment. We're going to have an extra 30 minutes, and that's going to be significant. because Celtic have never progressed when losing the first leg at home, but they've given themselves a mighty good opportunity now. Zane down the left-hand side, in towards the edge of the penalty area. He's got help from Stanisic. It's sent towards the back edge of the box. Musiala misses it. Comes to Kimmich, back down the right towards Zane once again. Zane edge of the area, onto Elise. Elise curls the ball into the box, headed away by Trusty. Goes back to Upamecano. He got good distance on that, Trusty. Go down the right by Munich, and then Stanisic into the area. Again, cleared away by excellent defending by Celtic, who are just keeping them at bay, making sure they're not having goal-scoring chances inside the area. All back behind the ball once more as Kimmich picks it up, tries to twist away from Hatate, goes wide towards the left now, then Kim joins the attack. On the left-hand side, Kingsley Coman takes over. Faces up Johnston, runs towards the right angle of the penalty area. Right-footed cross, it's too deep, it's going to go straight into the arms of Schmeichel, and another couple of seconds are going to be eaten up by the big Dane.
Again, very predictable, very lazy, dare I say it. Very desperate from this Bayern team, going wide into the areas, crossing when there's no striker on the pitch, and you've got number 10s who don't want to head it anyway. The worry for me is, other than Leroy Sané, they've got pace, they've got power. Nobody has decided to run in behind. This Celtic line's very high. Just run in behind, test them.
Well, the referee, I think, was going to blow the whistle and stop the play because there was an injury, and now he's allowed play to continue. Stanisic has kept it alive. He's gone down the edge of the area. Coman is on the left-hand side. His right-footed shot is blocked by Johnson, and it's cleared away. Maida was down inside the Bayern half of the field. Alphonso Davies with a cross. It loops up into the air. It's collected by Zane, now onto Elise. Zane again, into the area, tricks his way to the byline, then stops the ball, but then gets it caught under his feet, needs some help. Elise provides that angle of the penalty area. Left-footed cross, it's in towards Goretzka. What a save! Oh, no. Comes off Davies, is smuggled in, and they've won it Bayern Munich in stoppage time. Alphonso Davies runs away to the corner flag. It's heartbreak for Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel made one hell of a save to stop Leon Goretzka from scoring, but Davies was there to convert the rebound, and Bayern lead on aggregate. They're level on the night. It's absolute devastation for Celtic, whose players are on the floor inside the penalty area, crestfallen, because it's Bayern Munich 1, Celtic 1 on the night, 3-2 to the Germans on aggregate.
What a ball from Elise, and it's a great header from, again, it looks like it's is that Gotteres? I'm just trying to see you. I can't see you read that header.
It's Goretzka's header,
yeah, sorry,
saved
Goretzka.
by Schmeichel, who thinks he's done all the work, doesn't get up in time because he can't, and Vincent Kompany is dancing down the touchline because he thinks they've stolen it.
And the worst part about all of that, Sam, is you'd say as a coach, follow in as a defender, and Carter Vickers has done that, but as he's cleared the ball, Alphonso Davies is following in. He knows nothing about it. He just hits the bottom of his foot and goes in. This is a sickener for Celtic, and do you know what?
But what if there was a potential offside in the lead up to the goal?
Now that would be interesting.
Now that would be interesting, because Alphonso Davies thinks that he has scored his first goal since March 2023. He thinks that goal is going to take them through to the next round of the competition. But there is a goal check, but that check is over. And Celtic now are seconds away from heartbreak and elimination. They played so well for 95 minutes, but with the last kick of the game, Celtic are eliminated after an heroic performance in the Allianz Arena. It is a heartbreaking end to what was a Herculean effort in Munich tonight by Brendan Rodgers and his team. A tactical masterclass by the former Leicester and Liverpool boss, who got the better of Vincent Kompany for 94 minutes. But in the end, Celtic have suffered heartbreak. They have suffered elimination with one last throw of the dice. Elise's quality ball into the box, a diving header from Goretzka, pushed away by Schmeichel, smuggled home by Alphonso Davies, and somehow Bayern have found a way through to the last 16. Troy Deeney.
Absolute sickener. Absolute sickener. I feel so sorry for every single one of those Celtic players, staff, fan base that's travelled, fan base that's listening and watching the game. Bayern Munich to celebrate in the way that they did shows you that just how much Celtic had them on the ropes. Sickener, genuinely a sickener. The best players on the day were all from Celtic. 2 or 3 players for Bayern Munich can hold their head high. The rest of them just not at the races. Vincent Kompany celebrating because he knows they got away with one tonight. But for this Celtic team, it won't feel like anything now, but they can be so proud of themselves, so proud of the performance that they put in. This Bayern Munich team needs to step up some, because they play like that, they're out the next round. And I feel sorry for every single one of those Celtic players, because that was seconds away from being a monumental victory.
That was a spirit-crushing end to a fabulous performance by the Scottish champions. There are players in tears, and quite rightly so, because that was heartbreaking. It's finished in Germany tonight. Bayern 1, Celtic 1. Bayern progressed to the last 16, 3-2 on aggregate.
Well, we're on the brink of bringing you one of the greatest results for any British sides in European competition in the history of the Champions League. It was right there. It was on the brink. It was about to happen. And then Bayern Munich struck and got a goal they really, I don't think, deserved. But let's put this into perspective, because Celtic tonight almost pulled off the impossible, really. Bayern have scored 9 against Dinamo Zagreb earlier in the Champions League this season. First time that's ever happened, by the way. Bayern did it on home soil, scored 9. They scored at least 3 in 9 successive Bundesliga games. They won all 4 home games in the league stage of this Champions League. And Celtic were 1-0 up until 93 minutes and 20-odd seconds. And then a scrappy Alphonso Davies goal has sent Bayern through and Celtic out. And if we could just, I know it's heartbreaking, Troy, it's gutting for Celtic. Let's just analyse that goal, because, and I don't mean to be critical, because Kasper Schmeichel hasn't really been troubled. There's a couple of good saves in there, but they haven't really threatened. I don't even think they deserve the draw, Bayern Munich. But if he pushes it away to his left, then nobody gets on the end of that, and Celtic win 1-0, and we go to extra time.
Yeah, I think that's ultra critical, if I'm being totally honest with you.
Because he's pushed it right in front of him. There's a chance for Bayern Munich, so it is ultra critical, yeah?
Yeah, it is ultra critical, because he's going on his left hand side and the ball gets to his right, so he's transferring the weight and then he's trying to flick it away. It's just one of those things. It goes, if Carter